formed yet. And then once I learn what I'm doing, I'm like, y'all could treat me a lot better for this. I deserve a lot more for this.
Wow, this is some bullshit right here. Now that you kicked me out of the nest and I'm flying through the sky and trying to flap my wings here, I don't think you're giving me enough.
I don't like this.
You didn't set me up right.
How many times have you gone into work and then looked at your boss and said, what are they doing? You ever think about the levels at a job, Brett? Of course, the people on the very bottom. What do they do?
Usually clean.
Yeah, and then there is the people just above them. They're the ones that do the second hardest job at the place, right?
Deal with customers?
Yeah, that sort of thing. And then there's another level above that, and that's the manager that's in the place. Now let's think about what comes after that, right? You might have a guy named like Glenn that comes to your office every 6 months and you have to lay out the red carpet for Glenn. Think about what the person above Glenn does. Jerry is the person above Glenn, right?
Okay.
His job is basically going to lunch, right?
Yeah, powerful meetings, shaking hands real hard.
We're gonna go up to the CEO now. The people that sit around a table and who knows what they're doing? Nobody knows what they talk about.
Playing cards.
What connection does that person have to what you do and what the customer gets? It just seems like you could really chop like 5 or 6 levels off of any job and the company would still run perfectly.
Think about your job. Now imagine your manager isn't there. How much smoother would your day run?
I mean, how many of you work a job where you don't even know who the fucking CEO is of the company? That means they're absolutely useless. They're parasites.
They're on the top, getting most of the money, sending their kids to private school, driving the fanciest cars, and they can't make a sandwich. Every new level of hierarchy is more money coming out of your paycheck. Unions are fucking great because it's not HR.
You need solidarity with the other workers. We need to use that and exercise that. You and your other workers are the most important people at that company. I mean, hell, the way I think about it, maybe you don't get a union at all and you just take the whole company away from the bosses, and that's called a co-op.
For the almighty dollar, everyone's a slave. Cause what's the point of doing shit if you ain't getting paid?
You probably hear people constantly talking about this horrible thing called capitalism.
I have.
Yeah, you've heard that?
Yes.
You're like, what? How does capitalism affect me? I will tell you, it runs your entire fucking life. You've probably heard of socialism or communism. Communism! And they say, they try to control your entire life. Your whole day is taken away from you. What control do you have over your day now?
Hey, Street Fighters. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, watching, whatever it may be. We're always happy to do this. We just came back from a wonderful, incomparable variety show on Friday, which we'll talk about a little bit here. But we're also back in the studio, back to work, making sure that you have your podcasts, making sure that y'all can get your call-ins. We are going to be here for the next 3 hours. We do it every single Sunday night. That's the Street Fight time, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time. 614-655-3887 is the number to dial. You can talk to us. You can tell us what's going on at your job, what the gig economy is doing, what the motherfucking military recruiter at your high school was like. We love to hear all your stories. We've been doing it for quite a while now, and it's all y'all that keep us going. We want this to be a gigantic mobilization of lots of people. We don't intend to lead anybody because we don't know shit. So as long as all of us can fuck everything up together, I think we'll be all right. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or Twitter, how's it going? There's a peace sign. That's exclusive video content. You can also subscribe to the podcast. And if you want more of what we do, head over to patreon.com, patreon.com/Street Fight Radio. Over there, you can get access to bonus video, bonus audio, and bonus zines, all kinds of fun things. Thanks for being here. For those of you that don't know who we are, my name is Brett Payne. My co-host is Brian Quinby. We're Street Fight Radio, the #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. Ain't that right?
It's right, baby.
Ain't that it?
Well, we got a couple things right off the top of the show here. So the variety show is not over. There will be another one.
Wow.
Yeah. Already, Brian?
Yeah, you're jumping ahead.
Already?
We had a variety show on Friday. We had the Trillbillies show up. We had Garbage Brain University. We had Icy Jake all do performances. The Howling Commandos was our backing band. And it was a fucking fun party. I gotta say, the show was all right, in my opinion. But like the party was jumping. Like everybody was getting live.
It was an incredibly good time. And everybody, we had a lot of listeners there. And we want to drag it on into next month. So on January 24th, 2020, first show of 2020, right? Street Fight hosts the incomparable Street Fight variety show with special guests, District Sentinel Radio, Sam Knight and Sam Sachs, and of course, Jake Flores from Pod Damn America.
Yeah.
That's who we're bringing. We're bringing the big guns in.
Yeah, the best guy in Brooklyn, Jake Flores.
He is. He's the #1 best guy.
The purest of heart in Brooklyn.
Yeah, so they're going to be here. Tickets will be on sale very soon. And then just as like just because they've been sweet to us and we've been able to we have new material that we have to do. On January 25th, me and Brett will be in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where you can get tickets at... Oh, man, I should have had this in front of me because I was really kicking ass. Yeah.
I didn't know they were out yet.
There are tickets out. They're doing them for us.
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
At
Never been.
The show is at Der Harrisburg Manor Corps. It's $10, and the link to the tickets is tinyurl.com/UKSH9FN.
Okay.
I mean, we'll get it out there in a real place with a better name. But if you want to order them right now.
What was it one more time?
tinyurl.com/UKSH9FN.
Yes.
We'll get you a link on our website very soon.
Yeah, we'll spread the word. But yeah, come see us in Harrisburg.
Yeah, Harrisburg people, come see the Street Fight Boys. We might have some guests with us, and we're gonna have a good time out there.
And then, and as always, Columbus, Ohio, variety show is happening again 1 month from now.
January 24th, baby. It's gonna be live. It was this time, and it will be again. So that is a lot of the stuff. We're gonna do the last 2 Teen Fight Radios right here at the beginning of January, and then you will get an episode of Shocktober, and then the Kid Rock American Podcasts kicks off. 4 episodes about Kid Rock with guests like Chris Wade from Chapo, Matt Chrisman, Kitty Stryker, and Tom Sexton. So
all right,
that's a good crew there. That's a great crew. You know. Also a Brace and Brian show coming soon because we just want to do one. But that's it. That's all the announcements I have to make now. The variety show kicked ass. It was a lot
of fun. It was cool. I got to do some sassafras. Actually, I'm sorry to call you out, but a lot of times when I get off the stage, someone is like, I had a whole bunch of drugs, but we did them all right before you got off the stage. So I did get to suck the inside of someone's bag of sassafras, and it was a good time. I loved it. I do appreciate that. Thanks for showing up and sharing.
So here's something I did today. To just let you in on this. and I don't know when it's going to happen. It's going to happen during this show. I get hungry during the call-in show.
Okay.
Right? I'm just like, oh, God, I'm fucking starving. So I went to the store. I've been making these plans, right? Like, I'm going to start drinking kombucha. I'm, like, working on it, okay? Like, I'm readying my brain for it more than anything. Like, I see it at the store, and a few times this week I've had it in my hand and then put it back.
You need digestive stuff?
My wife tells me it's good for that. It gets it makes it so the stuff comes in and goes like right out. It's very easy.
It boils the shit before it makes the fatty.
Right. So like I was like I'm going to try, and everybody says it's healthy, right? Like it's a good healthy thing to have.
See, but you're just falling victim to advertising. I mean, it feels like a fad type thing. Like
but all my friends do it. All my cool friends do it.
I mean, I do.
You do it. My wife does it.
I don't like. This is like when somebody you know that like believes in God says they're going to be atheists. It's like, oh, why'd you give up on that? It's like, why are you switching over now? You didn't believe in the bullshit of kombucha for so long. Like, why are you jumping on the train at this point?
Well, here's the deal about what I think about the bullshit of kombucha.
It stirs your guts up. It does like do it the right way.
And let me explain. I never saw kombucha as bullshit. I saw it as fermented, and I don't like anything that's fermented.
And vinegary.
It's just, and you know what? I'll put vinegar on my French fries if I feel like it every now and then. It's not as a little treat for myself. But no, I don't like beer. And every time I've ever even sipped a kombucha, I've felt beer in my mouth.
Really?
Yeah. It feels like beer to me. I feel like I'm drinking alcohol.
You know, do you know the Brittany Broski, the Vine of trying kombucha?
No.
Every time I get it, I play that for Erica, and we like have the best time laughing at
it. Does she like Ralph or anything?
She says it smells. She's like, it smells like a public restroom.
Yeah.
And then she starts nervously laughing, and then she drinks it, and she's like, ugh. And then she's like, well, no.
Well, for the people listening,
I got a range of emotions. It's one of my favorite vines.
I got a smoobucha.
Or TikTok, whatever it is.
I like kombucha. I like smoothies.
Smoobucha? That's not a real thing.
Right. This is the first step.
You're just a mark, dude.
No, this is the first step of kombucha for me. The new kombucha guy. The booch.
The booch.
I'm the booch, man. I mean, when we were in LA, every store had like a huge kombucha section.
Austin had it on tap everywhere we went.
Yeah. So I kind of felt like all the fucking cool people are doing kombucha.
Hot weather.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a smoobucha first.
Oh my God.
And if I can handle the smoobucha, I'm going to get myself a bottle of kombucha. You know?
Yeah.
But so sometime in this show, I'm going to open this because I'm hungry.
Okay.
And I'm going to drink it. And I will let everybody know. It says pasteurized kombucha. Is that a problem?
I don't think so.
Pasteurized.
I mean, you probably want the raw stuff. I mean, that's really going to challenge your immune system the best. That's going to put the best stress on your biological system, right?
What happened was,
you want to like get through. You want to survive something.
Well, what happened was my buddy John, who hosts the POD cast with me, he made his own kombucha recently. He said it tastes like garbage. But he said that the actual drink is really good and really good for you. And I was kind of like, okay, so Brett drinks kombucha. John drinks kombucha. Katie drinks kombucha. Who's the missing link in this whole thing? Me.
Yeah.
Everybody else seems happier than me. So
yeah,
I'm going to drink
the
restroom.
Kombucha. Yeah, my restroom situation is
way better than mine. Just way better than mine. It's a trial.
Yeah.
You know, for me. It's just pain all the time. It's just like, you know, one time on Howard Stern, when I was listening to him when I was real young, when I was in my 20s, late 20s, he asked Artie Lang, like, how he feels all the time. And he said, like, I always feel like I have a crap in my stomach that won't come out. And that like stuck with me more than anything ever in my life because like I always feel like I'm like one fart away are one poop away from being totally comfortable. You know?
Oh, really?
Just being. I've thought about getting enemas recently, like colonics.
Really?
I've considered it because it's like, man, you imagine how comfortable I'd be. You know?
You think so?
I do.
Okay.
It's been in my mind. I'm a more progressive guy than I used to be.
We have a lot of 22-year-olds listening to the show that don't know what it's like to be 40.
Yeah.
And that beef backs up.
It does. It does. The Italian meats make it difficult.
Hang around.
Yeah,
they hang around for a long time.
Queso makes it hard to make the things go. That's like a little thing I came up with, like just right off the top of my head. Oh yeah, it's been I guess like the other news that I saw, other than me drinking kombucha, was the first Trump rally of 2020, Ohio.
Really?
He's gonna be here.
Where at?
I don't know. Let's look that up. It just said so. The way I get roughly all my local news, right, is I take a walk every day, and on High Street and Broad Street, there's a scroll that has like 6 news headlines on it. And then I read those and I'm like, well, that's obviously the most important stuff that's happening in Columbus. Gonna move on now. You know,
people on the bus are reading it over and over.
Yeah. They should have more stories, in my opinion. I'm going to get his Ohio date. Should we go to his Ohio date and like be outside, not in? I don't support Trump. That's like a little thing about me. Well, it's just a thing about me. I think he's bad.
Yeah.
January 9th, 7 p.m. in Toledo.
We could probably get there.
Yeah.
I hate to say it out loud. I regret saying it out loud.
You do.
Maybe we can try to be there.
Let's look here. Let's look
That's
at
a field trip, though.
That is Toledo's far away. People think Ohio's a very small town. It's a Thursday. So.
Great band.
Well, yeah, if it was Thursday, I'd have no problem.
Yeah, I would go drive there. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's Trump. And all
Thursday.
It means is we're going to drive to Toledo and stand outside with Antifa and have people get mad at us, which I enjoy. I mean, that's something I like.
I've also heard that they edit too much out of his like ramblings. I kind of want to get the unfiltered ramblings.
Right. You know what he's been doing lately? We haven't talked about him much lately, but like his big new thing now, his big push is he's trying to deregulate the EPA, right? Which that's, you know, guys like him love to do that stuff, and they hate the EPA. He's a businessman, and businessmen hate the EPA. Right. I think it's just like the worst thing in the world. And one of the things he's doing is he's running around the country and he's telling people how mad he is that we have low flow toilets and that you have to flush them 10 times to get your doo-doo down. So it's like, okay, here's the first part of that to me is like, well, I mean, that's something me and Trump have in common. You know, lots of flushes. But the thing about it is, and if it's me, then you got to imagine there's a bunch of guys in his audience that are way worse off than I am.
Yeah.
In the guts department.
You're doing,
You know what I mean?
You're willing to try kombucha.
I know. If it was a scale of 1 to 10, there's a lot of 1s in the Trump audience. I'm like a 6 because I want to be better. Sure. You know? And so what he does when he gives the speech, though, is he's like, you got to flush the thing 10 times. You know, they can't handle us. Well, I don't have to flush 10 times. It can't handle you people out there. It's like, God damn, Trump. You're just telling your fans they take huge duties. I personally don't take huge duties, even though I eat a bucket of fried chicken for dinner every night.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it does get us closer to, like, taking over the reins of power. Like, if we can, I mean, because in the realm of, like, having an engaging conversation about your bathroom circumstances, like, we could beat him. Like, we're comedians. Like, we know shit and dick stuff way better than he does. Yeah. And if that's all people want to hear, I can captivate them.
Trump, on a scale of, okay, so how often, I'm going to ask you this, and it's going to be gross, but whatever. How often do you think Trump takes a shit in 7 days?
I don't know.
I'm going to give you my guess. 4 times.
4. Okay.
4.
You should do the spread on fucking gambling. Because I can't beat 4. That was like 1.5 days. Like, that's perfect. That's perfect.
4. Sometimes 6. Like, but then he thinks he's sick. You know what I mean? I also learned another weird thing about him this week. Like, people talk about how he eats McDonald's all the time, right? And like, I thought it was because, and this is me being a snob, like his palate's not refined. Like, just he's never been forced to eat anything, so he just eats steak and McDonald's and KFC all the time. And I was in a chat and I was talking to some people, and Matt Chrisman was in there, and he actually explains that Donald Trump doesn't eat McDonald's because he likes the taste of it. He eats it because he feels it's the most sanitary way to eat. It's like safe, you know, they can't they don't adulterate it or mess with it. And it's always the same every time. And they won't poison him.
It's the reason why everybody likes it.
Well, I mean,
he has the same disease that we all have.
I guess, man, but like so many people I know were able to kind of shake that off by the time they were like, I don't know, 25, 30 years old. Like most of the people I know were able to shake off.
Until you have kids, man.
That's true. You do end up eating it every day or a lot.
Yes, be honest, every day.
Yeah.
My kid is like, hey, they have hash browns at the McDonald's. They're only 89 fucking cents. You want to go get one? And I'm like, yeah, I do. For sure I do.
Yeah, kids are monsters because it's like you can't avoid fast food with them. You can't be like, these kids will never taste fast food. Because I think what happens in the end, because this is my parents, they were okay with us eating fast food, right? But we only had McDonald's every 2 weeks right? Jason, you would say like we would have something once a week from a restaurant. 90% of the time we were having pizza. And then like 10% of the times it would be like a McDonald's, a Taco Bell, a Burger King. So when I turned 16 years old and I got a job, that began me eating fast food every single day for dinner until I was 32. I think. Like, I ate it. I had like almost like a calendar in a way. Like some people have like a recipe book. I was like, well, Tuesdays are for Arby's. Wednesdays are for Dairy Queen. Thursdays, a junior bacon cheeseburger. Saturdays, also a junior bacon the Wendy's. I would do Wendy's twice because it felt like the more healthy of all of them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's, no, I mean, we all rely on it. And it's definitely, it humanizes the guy, to be honest.
In a way, yeah. I mean, I listened to the Howard Stern-Hillary interview, and it sort of humanized her, too. But then when I moved back away from it, during the interview, I was like, she's just a normal person. And I was like, she planned all that shit. She's not a normal person. She's still a robot.
Yeah.
You know? But, yeah, so 2020, Brett, it's going to be a wild year, I think. I think we got an election coming up. We got a primary coming up that is going to be brutal. It's going to be a tough one. I mean people are already going nuts on it.
I mean, it's going to be harder. It's just going to be a lot tougher. There's a lot of things in play right now that are just, out of our control. But like the economy and the election and where that heads is just going to... We're all going to level up. I feel like we've gotten used to the bullshit. Just wait until the new bullshit comes out.
That's the thing. That's actually the funny thing about it, right? Is like, so we did 2016. We were around for that.
Yeah, we've made it through.
We did 2012 too, but 2016 I think is the first election we covered. I mean, we covered 2012, but we weren't like really good at what we did. Well, we were good, you know, but you know what I'm saying. We covered 2016. And we're astoundingly wrong a million times. Right, but by like this point in that election, we were saying, isn't it funny that Donald Trump's in the election?
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's really owning it.
Seems like a farce.
He's really making fun of, he's really making Ted Cruz look like a dipshit, you know?
Yeah.
And but then we got to the thing where it was like the monolith of Hillary Clinton seemed destined to win.
You know what? I did see. I was speaking to that. Bernie Sanders today announced that he wasn't going to support the other person because he got rigged the last time. Did you see that?
No, I'm looking that up right now. What do you think about that?
That's all I want to hear is real talk. As long as, like, you know, people ask him if I'm pessimistic about Bernie, and I always am. But like, to see at least if I know he's saying out loud what's going on, like, I'm completely okay with it. And he did get like completely railroaded last time, and now he's saying that he's not going to support whoever it is. He's just gonna, you know, bow out if he's not the one. You know.
I mean, that's how I would be too. I mean,
and honestly, I think 2020. I mean, it's you know, 2016 is a lot, and I think, you know, you have to say at the beginning of 2016, it was like everybody thought that the rise of the Third Reich was here again, and people were treating it like Nazis were everywhere. And I know there's a lot of important, very serious stuff going on, but it also tended to be, now it's just real life. You know, people are just treating it like it's an everyday thing. The protests died down, the mass movements died down. There's a lot of people that have been activated. I'm very inspired by, of course. But I don't know, like, going into 2020, what if another Donald Trump win? I mean, I hope that's enough to break everything apart. I don't know what else would be. You know?
mean, it seems like the thing about this primary to me is Wine Cave Pete has no chance, which is, you know, but we know he doesn't have a chance, but they're going to keep pushing him, right? Sure. And Klobuchar doesn't have a chance in hell. The media is 100% behind her, right? Like they keep talking about how, you know, watch out for her. She might come from behind and have a big moment, which is basically the media saying, please come from behind. So when you start looking at who the two people really are, this is what the battle is that we're going to watch. And if we have to choose a side between Republicans and Democrats, we have to tentatively look at the Democrats as like, they are the ones, like, I don't think they're on our side, right? Like, I don't think they're leftist. I don't think they're on the left. I think that they're like the ones that purport to have the values of the left, right?
Well,
so
it's all that's
like
available. I mean, it's all that's available right now. They're the only challenging party, but they're also losers. They're just like incredible losers that don't want to do anything right. They want to manage their way out of a win. They don't know how to, like, actually get things done. Right.
So then you look at it, you got Joe Biden versus Bernie Sanders is what we're looking at. And to me, it's like, once the arguments come out, you would think that the one argument we're going to hear is about how Bernie Sanders is old. But if he's up against Joe Biden, like, what does that even mean?
Right.
You know,
it doesn't matter. It's like, this is where we're at. You pick where it's old guys.
We're going with old guys. You've narrowed it down to two old guys.
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't want old guys, there were plenty of non-olds.
Should have thought about old guys. Not getting old guys earlier.
Well,
we got one old guy.
Yeah.
And
look, I am not going to be a dude that says, like, Bernie Sanders is like a compromise candidate to me. There is so much stuff that I don't like that he's done. The Sesta Fosta stuff is terrible. I hate it. But, like, if he can win, he feels as though he can be pushed to do the things that we would like to have done.
We need to normalize people coming out in the open and saying we need to take care of each other, and saying I'm tired of doing this healthcare the way it's been doing because everybody in my family's driving me crazy with it, you know. I mean, we need to have more folks that are having these conversations. The stuff that he talks about, and what people will never, those people don't understand when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez comes out to support him, is just that this is based on a value. This isn't based on, like, winning politics. This is about taking care of people because that's the best possible solution.
Right.
That's the end. That's
right. That's why people respect the guy.
That's what it comes down to.
It's because he's a grump, and he will give you a reason. Like, I think also in the end, it's like, he seems to be the only guy that has figured out, if you speak plainly about what you want to happen, then people understand what you want to happen, and then they're inspired by you.
Yeah, and
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't mean to do this, like, with any sort of, like, credibility, but, like, the feminist aspect of like Medicare for all and education and all of those services does provide a lot of freedom to people, because like relationships are the only way to get by in this fucking country, the way that it's set up. Like, I mean, you got to be with a partner that has good insurance, like if you want to make things work. You know,
street fight doesn't happen without a bunch of people being able, like, our wives have insurance and Jason has insurance through his job, and and it's like
Jake is on his girl's insurance,
and other things there are things that, like, there are goals that we could achieve so much easier if people didn't have to depend on having full-time jobs.
Yeah.
If Katie didn't have to have a full-time job to have insurance, we could probably figure out how to replace her income, but it's impossible to replace her income
and get $1,000 a month insurance on top of it.
Yeah, it's impossible. And it's like if somebody goes on fucking TV, right? And they sit down and they say, "Listen, you know how you like always wanted to like try to be a freelance journalist, or like, you know how all you ever really cared about was if you could work at a record store?" Or like, that was me, right? All these jobs that me and you have talked about in the past that were like, I would have taken that job in a second, you know? I mean, maybe like you were fine. One of the best times of your life was when you were a dishwasher. Like, you can do that again. Like, you can have the freedom to bargain for your labor if your health insurance is taken care of.
Yeah.
And it gives us in the labor market, it gives workers a competitive advantage that we literally don't have. We're stuck because of health insurance. We're not stuck because of money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's you know, it's bad. It's a bad fucking system. And there's only one person that speaks plainly about that stuff, you know.
And student loan and debt forgiveness and free college, which they act like is also a thing that's like a fantasy. And it's like, it's not a fucking fantasy. It's all just numbers.
I also want to say, like, across the country, that things that are never being reported on is that there are folks that are doing rent strikes. There are people that are raising money for LGBTQ wellness centers. There are people that are fucking changing their cities, and we will never hear about it. And like that, your individual action, taking your one person and joining up with other people to affect change is what makes things happen, you know. And like that's the safety net that we have, is the people that are willing to do the hard work to take care of things and fight for that stuff. But for right now, they're going to do the fucking election. I don't want them to do the election. I'd rather them just stop doing the country. I'd rather them.
Hey, can y'all just stop doing the country?
Yeah, please. It's annoying. This fucking country is annoying as fuck. Everybody I talk to is annoyed by one way this fucking country is run. Just get rid of it. Toss it out the fucking window.
I agree, man. I agree. I'm annoyed by it. We talked about it in a live article, right? It's like our politics. He asked how our politics had kind of changed in the years that we've been doing this. And in 2011, and there are a lot of people that are very angry about this too. In 2011, me and Brett were pissed off, you know, and like we were broke and we said nothing good. We sort of felt like nothing good could happen with America still standing, which I feel paralyzed, at least me. I can't speak for Brett, but it sort of paralyzed me in that it's like there's no point in trying to make people's lives better until we take this government down. And we're not going to do that with a podcast. It's like not going to happen.
No, I'm ready for it, but I just don't see it yet.
As I got a little older, I got a little more open to like listening to people like the DSA and stuff like that. And there is something to electoralism. It would be nice if it wasn't. It would, like, in a world where like we were working for like greater good things and getting them done and not needing leaders, that would be fucking wonderful. But if we have the voting power to choose some of them.
It's not even if. It's just that they're going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
Like, either we have to get a mass of people to literally stop them from doing the elections, which is the preferable option. Otherwise, like, they're going to do it and people are going to compete in it. And I definitely understand why people want to get involved. We've done, if you come hang out in Columbus, Ohio, every single Wednesday at Elevator Brewing, their tap room on 4th, we go and watch wrestling. And there's a few DSA, old heads that hang out there, and talking to them, they were saying just how frustrating it is with Columbus area, because the way that our city council works, it's not like districts or wards or anything. You need like a huge group of people. It's like a group vote thing, like a ranked voting thing. It's not as simple as getting a few thousand of your neighbors to vote for you in your district. You have to get like all of Columbus to vote for you. And it just is, it's just skewed in a way that the moneyed candidates and the old guard is the T-Berries fucking get a hold of
The
it.
old T-Berries.
Yeah.
Pat fucking T-Berry.
Right.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Yeah. I mean,
the same old shitheads get in charge.
I mean, it wouldn't probably be the biggest waste of time for one of us to just try to run for city council and see what happens, but I don't know how to get on the ballot,
Yeah,
like, I mean, that's another thing about
people
that
behind
stuff.
it. You just have to get you open up a business and you start raising money, and then you try to waste it as much as possible by hiring people to get attention to you.
I've had actually people on Twitter who are like actual political strategists say they would move to Columbus to help me run for mayor. And I'm like, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm not going to win. And if I do, I'm going to do a bad job.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would definitely like raise the minimum wage, and I would definitely fire a bunch of cops. That's for sure.
Right.
But people wouldn't like it. People hate it when you fire the cops, Which to me is like, I thought we were going to just fire all of them. My mom came to the variety show.
Yeah, your mom showed up.
Yeah, she loved me and Brett.
Someone tweeted about her.
She loved me and Brett. She just thought me and Brett were just so funny and so wonderful. And then she loved the Trillbillies. And boy, did she love Garbage Brain University. But the first thing she said to me was like, Jake is an angry young man.
Oh, really? Oh, no. That hip-hop. That angry hip-hop
It's
stuff.
like, no, he's not.
He's the same.
That's what I told her.
I mean, like, he's as hell.
That's what I told her.
He's faking a little bit. I'm like how tough he is in them raps, right?
Yeah. She doesn't get it. She doesn't know what show business is.
Right.
An
angry young man.
He said he's an angry man. Jake is an angry man. And I was like, well, man. Mom, he has a right.
I mean, he got arrested at work and lost his job twice over it. Yeah, he's a little mad about it.
They fucked his life over. A government guy fucked his life over. It was not probably the greatest thing for him. And also, like, he's a fucking rapper. It's like me and Brett can put what is it, like some sugar in with the vinegar?
Yeah.
Like that's how me and Brett get by. We don't talk about anything positive or nice.
Well, and I would actually, it's weird you mentioned this, but yeah, I was thinking about it earlier in a way. Like, I mean, a lot of the guys that are doing the rap did not do the dirt. They're just friends with the people that did all of the stuff that they're talking about. And like, we have her in a similar way. Like I've partied hard in my life, but I definitely am not the center point of all of these outrageous fucking things, that we talk about, like the point of view, it's like, I'm a communicator.
Yeah. I mean, I just try to
relay what it's like, on this side.
Yeah, I told her, like, me and Brett, like, incited treason. I danced on the flag, too. We yelled fuck Don Imus, who died that day. Yeah. So, like, I don't know how you think that we were these sweethearts that weren't angry.
Beat up a dead man's skeleton.
I know. But people just somehow look at us and they're like, what a couple of sweetie pies.
Those nice guys.
It's like we're making fun of a fucking dead man on stage.
All right. Yeah. You ready to take calls?
Let's take some calls. This sounds fun.
Let's see who's on the line. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
It's Anonymous.
How's it going, Terry?
What's up?
Hey, I just want to say I really liked the variety show. It was awesome.
Oh,
Good.
thank you.
Yeah. I didn't know. I really had no idea. Like, being on this side of it, I didn't know what to expect, but I was reviewing some of the footage, and it was like, it turned out awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I have a problem with my job. I just started with this new company, and I'm having problems with, I guess, the owners and the coworkers because, I've started noticing that they're kind of, preaching the whole 1776 thing and
Oh no.
saying how socialism, doesn't work, and they're flat earthers, and they're already spouting like transphobic things around me.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at the research on the shape of the Earth, I feel like there's a lot of things that are unanswered, and there's really
Just got rid of that.
there's no intrinsic evidence of the shape of the Earth. It's all based on hearsay that comes from the government. That's all comes from the same government that lies to us about everything else.
Just got over people thinking we were flat earthers. Just got over it last year. Just ended. But what do they? I mean, can I ask you what kind of work it is?
Construction.
Oh, yeah. I gotta tell you though,
Get along to get along.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be a guy that says stuff like that, but like, I mean, I guess a union construction job. No, there are probably still a lot of 1776 people on
maybe.
those. I gotta tell you, I never worked. The closest I ever worked with a person that had kind of our politics on a construction job was when I was a roofer. There was this guy named Raj, and he looked kind of like Tommy Chong, and he would like wear bandanas and stuff, and he would say, yeah, man, I think all of them are full of shit.
Yeah.
And like that was like the best politics I ever heard on the job site.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, in that regard, when I worked at the warehouse, I worked with a lot of people, and they thought that I was like this bleeding heart liberal guy. And I mean, if you can be cordial and fun and not like let them know you think that they're a piece of shit that's like eroding humanity or something, like if you can keep that and
Right.
do it, I mean, maybe you can slot yourself in. But, I mean, a lot of work is like you have to kind of just keep it close to your chest what you think. They are probably voting for like horrible people that are doing horrible things. But like fighting and like, I don't know, losing your job, you have to decide whether it's worth it or not.
I mean, what do they know about your politics?
Very little. I've only worked there 2-3 weeks.
So I'm going to tell you how I could see it happening. Okay. Where you're relatively successful in this social situation. And this is how it's worked for me at a number of my jobs. I worked with a lot of conservative people in my day. And what'll happen is, first, in the conversations, this is the coolest leftist move, by the way. Or even, I mean, this works for any kind of politics. This is the coolest move, is when they start listing their conservative stuff. Well, let's just say like, well, we all know socialism has never worked. You don't say anything. You go, Like, you let it be known that you do disagree with that, but don't give them anything. Just, it's always like, because everybody, I remember my dad one time was like, communism could never work. And I went, and he stopped arguing with me after that because he knew that like whatever was going to come next was an argument. But the truth is, like, a lot of those guys, they want to have the conversation. Now, whether they're open to changing their mind or listening to you, if you have well-reasoned, good humor, plain-spoken ways to address them, a lot of times you can get them on your side. I have talked to so many people that I've been able to talk to so many people that like I'll be like, so, you know, there's a healthcare mandate, which means that you have to either have a job and get healthcare or you have to pay for healthcare yourself. Wouldn't it just be even better if the people that are mandating you give it to you? And then we'll always agree with that because, you know, in the end, it's going to cost them less money and they want it to just cost less money. And it's things like that. It's like this slow roll to like getting them to agree to the planks of what you think.
Yeah.
Instead of like getting them to just become socialists, if that makes sense. Like the anti-trans stuff is like, why do you care what people do? Like, what is happening in the bathroom that makes you so fucking nervous? What do you think? Like, I remember the first thing that got rid of my homophobia was somebody saying, so like, you think a bunch of dudes want to fuck you? And I was like, no, actually not. That's true. You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't think women wanted to fuck me. Why would I think guys do?
Yeah, I have to. I think I agree. It's like it's a matter of tact and it's a way of absorbing things. You know, if someone says like socialism has killed a billion people, you just have to soak it up and just be like, like you said. So, yeah, they did some bad stuff. But don't you think the government should be oriented in a way for like me and you to get something out of it? You know, like you just have to know how to parry stuff. And I've said it, like, just you have to pay attention to like the corners of your mouth. Like, as long as you're smiling and as long as you're having a good time and as long as you're not angry, spitting mad, like you're doing fine in it. And you don't have to win. It doesn't all come down to one moment in somebody's life, but there is a way to butt up against those people and do it in a fun way where you can be just like, yeah, you know, I guess it is for me. I don't want to wear a fucking dress, but I'm also not going to I'm not going to be in hysterics just because somebody else is going to wants to be trans. Like, why am I going to be all fucked up about it? Like, you can present it in a way where it's like, I guess why are you thinking about somebody else's genitals though? Like, are you thinking about what I do with my dick? You know, like, are you thinking about what everybody here, what they fuck or like what their sexual proclivities are like? Like, why are you so concerned with this stuff? Like, you can do it in a way where you're just flippant and you look better than everybody. You can question the narrative. You're like, oh, you believe that bullshit from the mainstream media, you know, whatever it is.
And can I say this in general, like what's going to end up happening to you in the end? And Brett will agree with this too. He's been in this situation 100 times. I've been in this situation 100 times. You're the wacky liberal at the office, and that's just what it is.
Goofball.
Oh, he don't agree with it, you know, of course, but he don't agree with nothing.
I mean, you can find a way to be a good sport. Construction is a tough thing. I mean, warehouse work was the same. Like, I was up against people that were vets and that were hardcore, like all kinds of George W. Bush supporters and all of that stuff. And it was a matter of like, you know, really paying attention to your composure and how you conduct yourself on things like that, because you know, it feels like you're putting on kid gloves for them, or that they don't have to confront all of the disgusting things they back up. But like, if you really want to have an effect on them, it's going to take a different feeling than just like beating it out of them. Like, you can't just do like the macho fight about this shit. And, you know, you have to figure out a way you have to do something else, you know?
Yeah.
So counter, but be kind of respectful with it.
Yeah, with me, it's about like, and I don't know what you're...
If you know they have a stupid opinion just because they've been reading memes all day, just let it go, right? You're not going to explain away that thing. But you can always, if you can find a way for them to get to listen to what you have to say, if you can say like, yeah, I understand why you think 1776 is important because you are getting advertised all day that it is. Yeah, but I'm concerned about like the single mothers I know, or I'm concerned about my daughter's school where these things are happening. That if you're willing to, like, it's a way to open the avenue of communication where they can then hear something that is, not liberal talking points, but just advocating for the wellness of all of us.
Right. For me, it's like a lot of times in the political conversations I have with more conservative people, especially, it's been harder since Trump, because I think some of the Trump people are totally unwilling to be a part of it, But like in the conversations I've had in the past, I don't like to say I attack their character in a way, but like I try to say, okay, so like when the like I said about like, do you think people are coming in the bathroom to see you piss? You know what I mean? Do you think anybody like actually cares to do that, or that anybody's having fun? Like, it's about like,
I've never had a weird bathroom experience in my fucking life.
Never.
There's never been one moment where something out of the ordinary, besides everybody averting their gaze and hoping
nobody
that,
looks
they get
at
it
the
done
other
as
person
quickly as possible.
Yeah, or like let's talk about like taxes. But like if they're just talking about all this tax shit, be like Amazon doesn't pay any zero taxes. Do you think that's okay? Like, are we going to sit around here and think it's okay for me to pay taxes but not Amazon? And then, a lot of times they'll listen. It's like one of those things where you're like, you're not yelling at them, but like, I have this way, and I wish I could do it. Somehow we got to get like a conservative person that's a normal human being on. I have this way.
Yeah, good luck.
I have this way of getting them to agree with me. But in the end, they're still conservative.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's like, I think like you sort of wish like that wasn't the case, because, in the end, they're still going to just vote for Donald Trump. But they agree with everything you said, but they are still going to vote for Donald Trump. But it's like, then when it gets to that point, though, it does feel like you could flip a switch. You know, maybe one day something happens. Maybe Bernie gets elected and it doesn't melt their world down and their life gets better. And then maybe we've like sort of flipped a switch and started moving in a direction to go beyond even him. Right. Right. I think you'll be great. I really think that like, don't let them get to you, because if they find out what your politics are, they're going to try to get to you. And like, as long as you can steel yourself against things that you might find offensive, which like we all have to do in the workplace, especially when we're doing blue collar work, you're going to be okay. And once you start to get to know them, you're going to be able to talk to them, and you're going to have conversations with them, and you're going to change their mind. I promise.
Yeah. It's kind of for like, I feel like some of us are like, people that listen to this are like overachievers in the way where if someone tries to make you uncomfortable, you can come back with something to make them feel way more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But from a more, a better intentioned place.
Yeah. But good luck.
Thank you for your advice.
Yeah, keep us posted on this. I'm really interested, actually.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Good night, comrades.
Peace.
Good night. So here's the deal. It's Kombucha time.
Oh my gosh.
Is it Kombucha time? Are we
This seems
interested
like
in me drinking the Kombucha?
I mean, is it bubbling right now?
Oh God, it's got ginger in it.
Ginger's wonderful.
It's not my least favorite flavor.
Ginger will keep you alive for a few more years. The more ginger you can get, it keeps you alive longer. For sure. It's also, actually, I have to pick one of my favorite flavors is ginger. And I think what I enjoy about it is that the expression of each individual fucking ginger root is different. It has like a variation to it. So it's always a surprise for someone like me that like is always looking for new tastes and flavors. Like ginger is never the fucking same. Yeesh. Love ginger.
I don't love
Shout out to ginger.
I don't love what you just said.
Shout
I don't like ginger. This is one of my least favorite flavors. You know what my favorite flavor is? Pepperoni.
Maybe pepperoni doesn't. It's not the same as kombucha. No. Isn't it really old and covered in mold and shit?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's just like if somebody asked me what my favorite flavor in the world is, and I had to like sit around and think, and I really started to parse it out, I would probably come up with something different. But the truth is, it's definitely pepperoni. I fucking love pepperoni.
Would you do a pepperoni drink? Like if they had a Soylent pepperoni flavor?
No, you got me there. Maybe
you wouldn't.
No, pepperoni
Dude,
is just like
spicy
excitement to me.
16 cold ounces of spicy pepperoni with caffeine to start your day, dude.
Here's the thing.
That sounds like an epic bacon type of morning, right?
I don't want an epic bacon type of morning. I like cafe mocha. But here's the thing about pepperoni.
You like candy for breakfast.
Here's the thing about pepperoni. It was the only reason I couldn't stay vegetarian. It was like the only thing I missed when I went vegetarian was pepperoni. Like if they made good, listen, if you're a listener, Brett will give you the P.O. box number because he knows it and I don't. And you know of good vegetarian pepperoni, you might be able to turn me over to vegetarianism.
Okay.
Because pepperoni is just so important to me.
P.O. Box 82306, Columbus, Ohio 43202.
If you vegans and vegetarians out there think
there's not a good fake pepperoni
that you can get me,
I've been in this for so
I will
long.
go vegetarian.
None.
If somebody finds me a good pepperoni.
Doesn't
That's
make sense.
all it takes. I mean, I might go pepperontarian anyway, is what I've been thinking lately.
Makes sense.
Where it's just like the only meat I eat.
That's the only one.
I eat
That's
one
great.
meat.
No, that's a great reduction. People always forget about the reduce part of that triple R. The reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce every meat except for pepperoni. Pepperontarian.
I'm a pepperontarian.
It makes sense. People know immediately. They're like, oh, yeah, I couldn't give it up either.
Yeah, it's probably the hardest thing for people to give up because cheese pizza's dog shit. It's the dog shit.
If they cook it right, if it's smoked, it's not bad.
Boring ass pizza. It's just a
I
real
agree.
boring cheese pizza.
You know what I'm doing?
What?
No pizza in 2020.
Ugh.
I fucking hate it.
What are you gonna do on the road?
I'm fucking done.
What are you gonna do on the road?
I will eat ketchup packets. I'm not
what,
going to. I fucking hate it. I'm done with pizza. We had it like 7 times this fucking week, and I'm done. It's
Here's what's
fucked
gonna
up.
happen.
It's bad for you. It makes you greasy and gross.
Here's the issue. Here's what's gonna happen. Me and him are gonna be on the road. It's gonna take us 7 hours to find something to eat because he won't eat pizza.
I'm just gonna eat gas. I would rather just eat 3 fucking Danishes from the gas station instead of a pizza. I have to be done with them. They're just at every angle. Yeah. Every time we met up with people during the holiday season, they had fucking pizza. It drove me nuts. It drove me. My insides are just like rubbed raw right now.
With pizza?
I can't do pizza.
It's America's
Fuck
food,
pizza.
dude.
It's
It's
bad.
the most American food.
Humans shouldn't eat cheese. I gotta say it. I hate to say it.
Oh,
but,
no.
like, it's
No,
bad.
not on my
It's bad
show.
for people.
You are not a vegan.
It's not.
You're a cheese boy.
I can't anymore.
You love cheese.
I'm done with it.
Let's see
It killed me. It's killed me. Literally killed me. I'm done. I seriously hate it right now.
I'm excited about this.
This week has been like so bad with just booze and food.
Okay, well,
All of it.
booze.
No, macaroni and cheese.
No booze
cheese.
in 2020.
Pizza too.
No booze in
Pizza.
2020 is better than no pizza. It's
No
easier to
cheese.
do.
Cheese is gross.
Oh God, Brett's gonna start showing up with a pack lunch at everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I want
have
to
to.
fucking eat pizza. I'm sick and tired of fucking pizza.
I hate pizza.
You
right
know,
now.
the truth is, Brett's been pissed about pizza for 3 years. So
I know.
I'm
I need
fine
to make
with it.
It's
Yeah.
time to really.
It's time to put your
solidify
money
the
where
brand.
your mouth is.
It's time
I
to
like
get.
it.
It's time to get a tattoo of a pizza crossed out with an X.
I like it. I actually like this. I like people who restrict their diet to, like, they get rid of all the good stuff and only eat stuff that sucks.
I like everything else. I'm way into rice. Like, I love rice and noodles.
Whoa!
I would rather have that.
Okay, well, you can usually get a spaghetti at a pizza place.
Yeah, it just tastes like pizza. All right, let's see.
Everything-
Next caller. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Oh shit, it's me.
Howdy.
Hey, first off to Brett. Hey, it's Illegal Toilet, the Foot 5 guy, the originator of the Foot 5 with you in Chapel Hill.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in.
And
If anybody
that
wants
was
to
a fucking
go,
magical moment, and
yeah,
I'll never forget it.
skin to skin, foot to foot, it happened.
Ew.
It was
I have to
fucking
say
incredible.
ew.
To Brian, this is pharmacist, and
This is my life now.
That's just been my.
I'm kidding. No, it's my job, by the way. It's my job to say this is pharmacist, and you say, is this pharmacist? I have the showers. I should have done it for him. I should have done the is this
That's been
pharmacist? I have the showers. There you go.
That's been my favorite joke off of Shocktober. Like, me and my wife have just been repeating it to each other, like, for like 3 weeks.
I mean, nobody can get past this as pharmacists, and they should never have to. It is the laziest thing that's ever happened in the history of any kind of radio. So, yeah, I'm with you. This is pharmacist. So what's up?
Well, I love that whole call because, like, nobody talks like that. Like, and you and Felix really hit the nail on the head with that, because you're like, he's making all these jokes that, like, nobody would ever make. He's using terminology that no one uses.
Yeah, he's wild,
anyway,
dude.
It's really stuck with me. But at any rate, so the last time I called in was probably earlier in the year sometime, and like Brian, you weren't there, and I really wanted to talk to you about like working in a fucking call center, because I've been in this like shitty call center for 5 years.
What are you doing? Can I ask what kind of calls you? Is it inbound, outbound? What kind of calls are you doing?
It's inbound, and it really sucks. It's basically like, without going into too much detail, it's basically customer service for CPAs who are basically the worst fucking people because they can't work a website, despite the fact that our website is rife with errors.
So my experience in the call center was tech support. Like vaguely, just what I was doing. Are you doing tech support, or are you doing like, because like, here's the thing. The call center jobs are wildly different. Like Brett did collections. I did tech support. I've never talked to anybody that does sales, but
I've done sales.
Oh, you've done sales?
Yeah, I did sales.
How was it? Which one was your favorite? Which one was the easiest for you to do?
I never liked sales. I like just dealing with people's problems. I like just solving people's problems. Sales is too much.
I agree.
Because you're just lying.
Oh, yeah. So you do kind of like just like support for a website that barely works?
Yeah, and I mean it's been the same way for years. It's just been like all these empty promises from management, like, oh yeah, we're gonna put this new platform in, and now we're gonna integrate Salesforce and all this stuff, and it's just like, and then none of it ends up working because they have like we have 14 different systems or so that we work in, and none of them talk to each other. So the moment one thing goes down, it's just like a catastrophe, and everything goes down, and it just sucks. So anyway, like now let me know, in your experience, like do you remember there being just like a grizzled old dude in the call center who had been there for like way too many years and was never going to leave until they took him out of their feet first?
Yeah, my manager, old punk guy, old angry punk guy.
Yeah.
Was there? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I started, we had a guy who'd been there for like 7 years, ever since they moved from New York to Durham, and basically, like, he went, like, you know, you get there, you start a new job, and you figure out that this guy's been there for so long, and he's just kind of like venerable for a while, but then like once I got to know him, I realized that he's just a racist old New York dick, So like, I told myself, like, I'm never going to fucking become that guy. And now I've been there for 5 years, and I'm practically that guy, except without the racism. But,
yeah, I mean,
are you like grizzled? What? Go ahead, Brett.
Well, I think that like you when you were at your job, you refused to get promoted.
That was not the same job. No, at the job I was at, I was actually shooting. I got moved around quite a bit.
At cable, you weren't.
At cable, I refused to get promoted.
Right,
but at the call center.
No, I'm just mean like at the cable company, you refused to get promoted, and you were just a guy that did the cable job.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are people that are like, no, I don't want to be a coach. I'm just gonna collect. I'm gonna live off commission or whatever the fucking sales numbers are.
You don't think
be like the professional of this?
Yes, but I feel like that is like a healthy attitude to take, because only so many people can be a manager.
For sure.
Right? So there's only so many jobs. So like, I'll just be good at this low level job. You know, is that the type of dude you are, or have you moved up? Are you like the guy that people come to?
I've moved up like for approximately like 2 levels, but there's no benefit to it. It's really just kind of a name thing. I don't really make probably a lot more money than people who just started. and people who have been there with for a lot less time have gotten promoted over me pretty consistently. Now, one question I did want to ask you guys, like, at what point do I just decide fucking enough is enough? I've applied for 19 positions in this place, and I've been rejected for every one of them.
I hate
the fact that I come in, I bust my ass every day. My attendance is fucking stellar. Just, I don't know.
I mean, how old are you? Can I ask how old you are?
I just turned 37 a few days ago.
I mean, here's the thing, and this is just something that, like, I've sort of picked up over the years, especially the years doing Street Fight. It kind of feels like that once you hit past 35, there are some businesses that are like, they see you in a position and that's where you are. Does that make sense? Because, like, I've talked to a lot of people that have worked at places for 20 years, 25 years, and that are like, you know, they were moving around in the company, you know, in their 20s and their 30s. They were applying for jobs. They were getting hired onto these jobs. They were like doing their college and bettering their credentials and stuff like that. But then right around 35, everything they applied for turned them down. And I am like 100% accusing companies of being ageist. I think that they really are. And I think that it starts at 35, 36, 37 to 40, you know?
I disagree.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's something to blame it on so that you don't have to do anything. You can just say, "Oh, everybody hates me because I'm old now." Well, what I'm going to say is that from what I've observed and from what my wife has done and from what I've seen happen, is that, like, in this job marketplace, you do not increase your wage by staying with a company. Most people are moving jobs every 3 to 5 years. You go in and you get a position and you do it very well, and then you go to other jobs and you say, I do this job very well, but for $10,000 more, I could do this other job very well that you're looking for. And my wife went from 35 to 50 to 60 to $90,000 just by going from city to city to job to job to job that believed that she was able to do what she did.
And also, like, you are the kind of employee that they would want as a new hire.
Yeah, people like it. People like 5 years. It's great.
They see 5 years. They see you're 35, so you're not going to be rambling all over the world.
You can follow the rules enough to be there for 5 fucking years. You can stay within the fucking lines of any fucking corporate handed down HR bullshit. But yeah, you should definitely be looking for a position that's a little above your punching weight and try to find something that builds upon the skills you have. And go at that for another few years, and then jump to the next motherfucking gig. Like, that's the game right now.
Like, can I ask, are you like very comfortable where you're at? Is that like why you're not like looking outside by any chance? Is it like just
Honestly,
comfort or friends?
I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I want out. Like, I want to get out the moment I can. I'm gone. I'm a fucking ghost. Like, they will never know. Like, they'll never know that I was there.
But you do.
Gone so quick.
So I don't know what it exactly is you do, but you do have some sort of a skill to maintain employment for that long. You are doing something enough that is in a level of quality that it makes sense for someone to keep paying you over and over. You can take that and you can bullshit sell that to another company and convince them to give you like more. You know?
Right. If you're in Durham. Street Fight listeners in Durham, we have a lot of listeners there. If you're in Durham, let us know. We'll try to connect you with somebody. But like, I think like the best thing you could probably do is, you seem like the type of person that if somebody recommended you for a job, you would take it seriously, and it wouldn't necessarily be a risk to have you recommended for a job. And if I were you, I would ask my friends, like, hey, have you heard anything hiring? And meanwhile, like, sort of looking on, at the time, I looked on monster.com and shit. But, yeah, that's what I was doing. I never got a job off of it. But, like, I mean,
yeah, Monster was bogus.
Yeah, oh my God. Just looking around, just if you're able to, like, flex sort of a network that you have, if you know some people, like 5 years in a call center will get you a better call center job. Like you will be able to get a better job in a better call center. And you might even be able to like slide right in there at a higher position after what you've done. What you have to be willing to do is, I mean, bullshit. Like whatever your job title is, whatever your job duties are, when you're filling them out on a resume, make them look impressive, because it is impressive that you did something for 5 years and you did move up in the company.
Reliable.
You know?
Yeah.
I just like, you know, I've just been like busting my ass, and like the only reason that I'm where I am now is just because I found things that I'm good at. Like right now, we used to have a lot more duties, but they've outsourced a lot of it to they opened an office in Malaysia, and they outsourced a ton of our stuff over there. So what I did is every time they've kind of reduced it, I found something like they've taken it down to just phone calls, chats, and online chat and emails. So I decided, okay, well, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to get really good at email. But then they brought in a new hiring class, and they get a lot more time on email than I do. They're trying to like push me more and more towards taking fucking phone calls.
How long?
Brian, you yourself have said, like, what's the thing that people just want to do in a fucking call center? They want to get off the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why. I can say this on the show. Nationwide Insurance in town, the people that work there have told me that the best way to get a foothold in the company and get promoted and make a lot of money is starting in the call center, because fucking nobody wants to do it. And if somebody sees on your resume that you worked in the call center, they want you because you did the hell job. Yeah. And you really got to think of it like that. It's like you are doing a hell job. Like that people will respect that you've done this for 5 years. I respect that you've done this for 5 years. I'm not the only one that respects that. If I was a guy that was hiring people, I'd be like, he was on the phones for 5 years. That's fucking crazy. It's
impressive.
Yeah, it's really impressive. People don't talk enough about how you see a lot of stuff about emotional labor and stuff, but taking phone call after phone call after phone call for 8 hours a day really is hard. It's really hard. It's
challenging.
Work. Yeah, like
it drains the hell out of you. It does.
You don't want to hear sounds.
And I've done it, but it draws from a very specific energy, and to tap into like that engage thing all day long. My wife comes home, and she has like a real job where she doesn't do like Facebook while she's there. Like she solves like very expensive problems all day long. But she is like drained. Like it takes 8 hours of intense focus on a problem and on like a computer program, or like having conversations with the general public. It comes naturally to some of us, but it is worth way more than what we're being compensated,
Yeah.
Like I can soak up the general public, but I was getting, the $12 an hour plus whatever commissions was not enough for what I was dealing with.
Right. Well, and it was like I said this. I actually said this at the end of the variety show, but like there's this thing when you're on the phones for 8 hours. I was talking about how I was talking to Tom and Drew about this actually. They say like sitting is the new smoking thing.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
I've heard that catchphrase.
Right.
I saw that on a designer T-shirt.
I'm not like being like pro that catchphrase, but it is like
Karl Lagerfeld T-shirt.
I don't think sitting down all day is good for you.
No, you're a walker.
I'm fair. Well, that's what we're in a conversation about. But I was
you're
talking.
Biased.
But I was talking to Tom about back in the early 90s and the early 2000s when I was working for the call center. I would spend 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day sometimes sitting, and then I would go home. And I would be so fucking drained that I would just sit on the couch and watch TV all night because I couldn't like interact with the world at all. And if I had to go somewhere else and interact with people, I just was miserable. It was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I think like that is the like sort of psychic debt that you get when you are a person in a call center, and people don't understand that. People,
But I came up in the time I came up in the time of headsets though, so I'd be standing up and be like practicing my golf swings and shit. Like I would be moseying. I'm a walker. I have to walk and talk.
we had headsets, but they had a fucking cord on them.
Yeah.
And like you could
No, yeah.
you can barely walk. It's like if I can't walk,
It's like a leash.
Would have been nice if I could have walked all around the building and outside and stuff. I would have been great with it.
Right.
That's what they need to really work out is. But yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I think that the reason I walk all day now is because that thing is gone. You know, that thing forcing me to move is gone now. Nothing makes me move anymore. So I'm just in constant locomotion.
Yeah, say you have some weird anxiety about not moving that has overdone itself to the point where you're moving 6 hours a day,
Oh, yeah,
walking.
I know. Trust me.
8 hours a day,
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Yeah, but I like it. It
But
feels
yeah,
good.
like, I mean,
People are very worried. People do know that about you now.
Who?
Everybody that I talked to was like, Brian, he walks all day though. I was like, yeah, 40,000. We did like 40,000 steps in Las Vegas.
Me and you did 33 in Vegas.
33. Sorry.
I did 40 on
Ween Day.
the Tuesday. I did 40 on Thursday and 40 on Monday
Wow.
last week. My average right now, 7-day average, is 29,966.
Not bad.
I just can't stop. I can't fucking stop.
Yeah.
But hey, I think you should look for. Do you hang out?
No.
I think you should.
no, I'm here. I'm here.
I think if you get the chance, and if you're confident in it, I think that like you can. I know you don't want to be on the phones, but I think any call center would hire you and would be happy to have you and pay you more than you're making now.
And if you're smart enough to be annoyed by these motherfuckers and be gainfully employed for 5 years, you should just try something else out and challenge yourself and dominate that shit and just take the upgrade and don't try to work within like a framework where they already have their opinion on who and what your job is and what you can do.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like you're like when you said you've applied for 19 jobs there, it's like if you've applied for 19 jobs at a place and they're outsourcing a lot of stuff, it's probably good to jump off the ship anyway. And anybody would be lucky to have you. Is sort of my point. It's like a lot of call centers. You obviously understand that like the average person that works in a call center lasts like 6 months. And if some hiring person at a call center sees that you were at your last call center job for 5 years, their eyes are going to fall out of their head and they're going to offer you something for real. And you can apply for higher level jobs too. That's the thing.
Yeah. And we have like a full queue here, so I want to get the rest.
Geez.
But I mean, just to even a big fucking wrench in the gears. If you hate being on the phones and you want to get a catering job and you can make something like that work and move towards something else, like you should just find something that is more in line with what you'd rather do day to day. If you're a comfortable working person that can just get along with whatever needs to get done, you should maybe find something that, is more in line with what you want to do. Otherwise, it just seems like it's time for a change of pace. But thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
DM me, and DM us, and if anybody comes to us with job prospects in Durham, we will hook you up there.
For sure. You ready to get this next call in?
Yeah, man, that call center stuff is. Were you like that with me? What was your like after work routine like when you worked at the call center?
What you said. I mean, mostly I sat on the phone all day, hounding people for money, trying not to hound people for money, get a little break from that. And then I would go home and just lay on the couch and fall asleep on the couch and wake up right before I had to take a shower and go answer fucking phones again.
Right. I wonder why that is. Like, what is that? what does it do to you? Because it did that to me too. I would get off those phones. I would go straight home. And the only thing I could think about was just sitting on my couch and not doing anything, which you would think it would be the opposite. I've been cooped up sitting down in a building all day.
It puts you in a point of stasis though, where like it was in an okay suburbs, like apartment that I was staying in, and I had a car that like worked. It was a car payment. So it just puts you like right on the edge of comfortability, but you have no excess. Like if you're playing it smart and you're down the middle, there's nothing else to do besides pay your car payment on time and pay your rent on time and never leave because it's going to cost too much.
Right. Well, and when you talk about, because that's when you lived in Gahanna.
Yes.
Well, it was the same when I lived out in Dublin and when I lived in Reynoldsburg for a period of time before I finally moved downtown. Like it was just like there's nothing to do here, and I assume there's a ton of stuff to do downtown, but I shan't ever go there.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what that was about. Was like, why don't I ever go there? I can see it from my house.
I mean, but honestly, I mean, I would go downtown to go party and stuff, but that was the weekend. It's a weekend warrior thing too. It slots you into that, but it's like, if it's the weekday, like just power down, like do not spend money, eat like beef stroganoff again for dinner, or just.
It just makes me wonder, like, it just makes me wonder, like, are we in a place in our lives now, at I'm 40 and you're 35, or you're gonna be 36, right?
Yes.
And like, are we at a space in our life where if we had stuck with the call center office stuff, would we be like aware enough in our minds to like when we got off work, like try to like run on a treadmill or take a walk or go out and hang out somewhere or be friends with people? Like,
yeah,
do you think that ever happens? You know, like, or do you just stay exactly the same?
I mean, it changes. I mean, I think it just gets to a breaking point. I think what you have is basically what me and you dealt with when Street Fight started, where this person is just like, I've been hammering away at this for 5 years. The cops haven't come and kicked me out of my house. None of my shit's been repossessed. I'm in a relatively normal amount of debt, but like, you know, I've been living the same thing. Like, what do I do? And you have to like fucking change shit and like deal with what happens next.
Constantly,
you just gotta move in a direction of you know, what you like and what makes you feel more comfortable and try to make it work.
I mean, me and you are very much like the thing that I think me and you have the most in common is like that, like we basically turn our lives over every 4 years or something. Like where it's just like, what's next? That's how the variety show happened, right? It was like in January, we were driving on the West Coast and we said, we've toured the whole country. We've done LA. We've done the whole country. And then we were like, what is a level up? Because it's getting boring touring the country because we'd already done it. And I said, what if we decided to take the Sams and the Trillbillies and did a tour with them as a package? And that would be cool. And then it took us time and we figured it out. And we did that tour. And it was fucking awesome. It was like this thing where we felt really good. We had put this package together. Our friends got a lot out of it. We got a lot out of it. And we felt in a way like we had leveled up. We took Kath on tour. We took Minion Death Called on tour. And like this is the end of the year. We should like go through and thank all those people. But anyway, we took those people on tour. We felt really good. And then I remember we were talking and we were like, so like... what else is there to do? And then we said, let's try to make a run in Columbus. And that's where the idea of the variety show came. And like, it's just like, we never sit and we never just keep doing the same thing. And I think that's how this happened, how Street Fight happened. Yeah. Or because like, I gotta think I probably, had I not gotten robbed, I probably am not a cable guy now.
Yeah.
I gotta think I'm doing something else.
Well,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, the other side of that, I would say in regards to like what you're doing for a living is that, I mean, you know what it's like to do that job for the last 5 years and what life is like doing that. And then you can switch it up, and it goes up and down. Cause like Erica, when we were in DC, she was pushed to the limit doing like very high level projects that were like award winning that she was very proud of. But now in Columbus, it's a very slow pace where like they're like, oh, we can push it off till Tuesday. You know, like they're just not as pressed as, you know, they're not trying to turn this shit over the same amount. And the pay isn't the same at all. Yeah. But like it's, you know, now she can also have time to have a hobby. Like she can come home at 3 p.m. and go get Charlotte and have early days. And like that's the trade-off. It's like the money isn't the most important part. It's right. But the lifestyle changes of like what you're doing to get your money and how, you know, you organize it, you know.
Like I guess like on before we'll take the next call in just a second. I guess like the thing I'm thinking about is like, why can't that be a benefit at a job? If that makes sense. Like we talk all the time about this job has this benefit, this benefit, this benefit. They should have more paid time off. They should have paid sick time. They should have, you know, a higher minimum wage. But like, it would be nice if they tried to entice people by saying, we will let you have your life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why we can't be in a world where where like you can go get a job where one of the enticements is you don't live for us. We will let you have a life. Yeah. And it just isn't a thing. It's like, even when you're a high achiever like Erica, they don't have any regard for her having a lot of free time. They don't like think of it. She might have free time, obviously, but they don't ever think like maybe we should free up some time for Erica so that she can like read a book or fucking go on a trip or like just have a couple days off to spend with her family. Right? Like that's not even a part of the equation. It's depressing, you know? Go ahead and take this next one and then we'll probably take a break.
All right. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Yo, hey.
Hey, what's up?
Not a whole lot. Just to like circle back to the clean eating, like fuck cheese entirely. It's a toxic substance.
Right on, bro.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry. It's not good. I'm not gonna eat this like
silly
shit that came out of like another animal.
Oh, don't try to make it sound gross. That's rude.
I mean, it's not gross, but I mean, like, it's not for people.
Jeez. This is depressing. I'm going to end up on the road. What's going to happen now is we're going to take Minion Death Called on the road with us again, and I'm going to have to sit with 2 vegans. Fucking gnawing on loaves of bread while we drive around the country.
Yeah. Well, bread's bad for you too, man. That's not a good thing either.
Oh no, I love bread. I think that's perfect for you.
Vegans are bread boys. Like
you gotta have that.
When Tony got in the car for Minion Death Cult, he just had an enormous loaf of bread in a paper bag.
Yeah, he was like, I made this focaccia at Alexander's apartment, and it was just this greasy grocery bag. With and like his bread, and he was just tearing hunks off and handing them out.
And then Friday, Brett and Nick from Means TV get to the venue, and Nick's like, "Hey, I've been carrying these rolls around from Ann Arbor and gnawing on them all day. Would you like a roll?" And I was like, "No, I don't want a fucking roll."
Yeah, Nick did.
I love Brett.
He carries a dozen rolls with him. He seriously, when we jumped in the car, he was like, slid one to me and was like, you gotta try these rolls, man. They're the shit.
Rolls. No butter, no nothing. Just rolls.
No, just a straight roll.
Vegans love bread, man. They're just like, well, we can still eat bread. Obviously.
I'll admit, when I was vegan, like that was like my main calorie source.
I mean, it's not fair. Like the idea that like you have gotten rid of cheese and milk and meat is like, that is like really, that's a huge difference between with the like average American diet. When you decide, I'm also not going to have bread. It's like, nobody can eat with you. It's like, what are you chewing on a tomato all day? Like, I don't really know what to eat.
Lettuce wraps. Tofu lettuce wraps.
So like go to like a ramen place and then just have like the ramen minus the noodles and just have that wonderful broth.
Is ramen chicken though?
No, that's not. The ramen is the noodle.
I love ramen.
I gotta disagree with you. It's all the spices, but
The ramen is referring to the noodle.
Yeah. I got screamed at though on tour with Struggle Session because I said ramen isn't soup.
Yeah, we did have a fight
We had
about
a
that.
big fight about that. I
agree.
Yeah, it's
It is a
spaghetti.
soup.
Ramen is spaghetti. But what's up tonight?
I think
Not like a super whole large amount, just kind of like relaxing on a Sunday, and it's been a big weekend for me in terms of like realizing that other people don't have control over like how I feel, basically.
Really?
Like that's all on me. Like what
It's true.
I experience should not ever influence like what I feel. That is locked in like my skull, and at the end of the day, at the end of every conversation, how I respond is entirely on me.
Oh, I tell this to people and like it's just like in conversations I've had with people about like advice on like socializing and living their life, which I don't know why anybody asked me this, but I've said this in the past. It's like you need to treat each interaction as its own unique interaction that doesn't have the baggage from other interactions, the baggage in your mind and the baggage in the other person's mind. And you can't spend all your time thinking that the other person is thinking something that you're not 100% sure of, because like what I have found in my adult life, especially in the past probably 10 years, is that like what I used to do when I had a conversation with somebody is we would talk, it would end, they would leave, and then I would try to pick apart what they said and their motives for saying each thing, right? Like that was, I just spent all this time doing that. And I didn't know I was doing it. It was just sort of the way I was taught to socialize, I think. And one day I was like, what if I just took everybody at their word at the moment that they're talking to me, and I trust them and trust that they believe what they're saying and that what they're saying is true in that moment, and don't hold them to it for the rest of their life. And that realization is honestly like probably basically I had that realization and then like made a whole bunch of new friends and like had friends. I even met Brett around that time that happened. And like, Brett is a dude that like, if I was the old me, I could have conversations with him that he's in a bad mood sometimes. I'm in a bad mood sometimes. I never hold it against him past like the moment that he's been an asshole. Like, okay, he's an asshole. He's being an asshole. I'm just going to fucking fuck off. And then I talk to him the next time and he's nice. I'm like, I don't care about the asshole time then. Who cares? You know what I mean? He was an asshole. Okay. We're all assholes sometime. And like, relationships could be so much more healthy if we took each interaction and each person at their word, because like, the holidays just passed and I saw it happen a bunch of times, and I wouldn't name names and I wouldn't say who it was, but like somebody would leave an event and then people would be like, can you believe they said that? I mean, like, what the fuck was that all about? And then they start having a conversation about this thing, and it's like, this is like this never ends good. Like whatever we're doing here, we're talking shit about somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Totally. And I think even in that moment of like violent speech, because I think it is a form of violence, honestly, you have to remember like what people are doing. At least this is what I've at least thought in the past, like, 24, 48 hours. Like they're really just saying like, can you like please understand where I'm coming from and like try to like figure out why I'm in this way, why I'm acting like an asshole. And it's usually for a reason. Like there's a reason we do things.
Oh yeah.
And like it may not be a good idea to be an asshole or be violent in your speech, but I mean like they're doing it because they think this is how it's gonna get what they want. It's literally asking please, like at the end of the day.
Right.
And it's just not a very nice way to do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're totally right. I mean, when people are angry, They're. I think it's like the thing I always say, where it's like sometimes we aren't our best person, and like we don't usually give people the same amount of. We don't give people the same amount of leeway that we give ourselves in those situations. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say that also, like, the key to the entire world is like when you realize everything is your own fault. And you because it takes away it takes away everybody's power to drive you crazy. Like if you expect people to be some sort of way, if you say they should be this or that, it's just they're going to disappoint you over and over again, and you're going to be miserable about it. But when you can say, I'm in charge of how I interact with everybody, and I can interact with people in a way that acknowledges who they are and the way they do things, and maybe it's not the way that I would ever do things or the way that I think should be done, but the less that I get away from how I think the way I think things should be done, and the more I get towards accepting my role as working with somebody else and accepting who they are, like the closer you get to just calm, like you're not miserable, you're not rolling things over in your mind about the way that other people should interact. You just say that, like, you have your own role in how you interact with people, and there's plenty to get from them, and we all have our own faults, and you have to know that, like, there's a billion things wrong with yourself that they also dislike about the way that you conduct yourself.
Right. Yeah, it is like that weird thing where it's like in my relationships when things have been going poorly, I generally feel like I need to do something because I can't make the other person do something.
Anything.
So like
anything.
If a
You
person
can't make them do anything whatsoever at all.
So if somebody is angry at me, I take it upon myself to fix whatever it is that I think is bothering that person. Now, if that person isn't in good faith, or if they're a person that doesn't like me already, I'm not gonna fucking change anything, and I'll probably tell them to fuck off. But like in the end, if it's somebody that I love or somebody that I spend my time with, or one of my friends or something like that, like I'm gonna give them the maximum amount of like the benefit of the doubt, and I'm also gonna say, like, I could have done things better.
Yeah,
like that's what I generally.
I need to adjust my expectations. I need to adjust the way I interact.
Right. I generally will. I'm fully open, 100% willing to admit that, like, I am wrong a lot, and if I'm wrong, I like try to be a guy that like will fix the things that are wrong with me. I think like life is about constant self-improvement and trying to make yourself a better person.
Well, I think it's about finding the easiest path. And I think that's what relates to like the conservative caller from before is like, if I am mad that like same-sex couples exist, like I'm going to be fucking pissed all the time. Like it's just the stupidest thing to decide that the way that somebody else conducts themselves would ever affect my interior environment, would ever affect my life to the point where I'm like rolling around in my head like they did this wrong, they should have did this or that, everybody should be like this or that. Like I have that inside of me. I definitely, the worst part of me is that I'm very judgy and I wish people lived up to expectations that I have or I think that they could do. But that all belongs to me. It's nothing about how, they're on their own journey and I need to figure out how I can help uplift them. I don't need to sit on the sideline and tally up all the mistakes that other people are making,
I felt the same way about my parents for the longest time, and I resented it so much. And just because, I mean, I love them and whatnot, but I felt like they gave up at some point on life, so to speak. And I realized that that's just a really fucking toxic way to exist. And it's easier for me, like you were saying, the easiest path through life. It's easier for me to just accept them for who they are, all their faults.
They've made deals. They've made deals themselves, like, and it's not as easy as you think it is to sum it up with with one little thought bubble. You know, it's a very nuanced thing, and you know, there's decisions that I've made already at this point in my life that I realize I'm stuck with them forever. You know, like that's forever. I'm tied to people now. You know, I've created a person. So those things create stuff that, you know, over time, you know, the more you understand what you're poking out there is exactly right. Is like when you are in control of your own narrative, you can make sure that like it's a little calmer seas that you're sailing, you know, like when you know you can get in a better relationship than maybe what you've seen or what's been displayed. You know, you can make a better deal when you take more ownership over, you know, where you're at.
Yeah, entirely.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, we loved it.
For calling. We love talking like that.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love you too. Thanks for calling. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
I'm gonna call back to listen, but just
okay.
That's how I'm listening.
You might get picked up at the end. You better have a good knock joke or something.
All right, we're gonna take a break because I found this sweatshirt that I want to buy, and I want to show it to Brett and see if he makes fun of me for it.
Okay, I'm interested. Who do we have tonight? I don't know who the Speedos.
We need to fucking. There's some people like spouting some racist shit.
Can we boot them?
I can't boot shit until we're logged in.
Oh, I'm seeing it. My gosh. Okay, we're getting. Hey, there's some sort of internet war happening. I can block the person. All right, they're gone.
Is it just one person?
Yeah, they're gone.
That's not a war.
Like this other guy too.
Do you want to log into Restream? I can show you how to block it. Start playing.
It's not blocking it on Twitch.
Start playing the music. I'm going to show you how to do it. Just start playing the music, and I'll come over there.
Am I back? Yeah. Hey, everybody, it's Street Fight Radio. We are back. We took a little longer because our chat is being bombarded by a racist person, or at least somebody who thinks saying racist things are cool. So we're trying to figure out how to make that not happen anymore.
Yeah, we're fighting back against this. Oh my goodness, it's just never ending. But I guess we're affecting change. We're pissing people off, which means we're doing the right thing, right? We got fucking haters, right? That's our motivators.
I think, yeah. I mean, I have been the troll, and now I'm being the trolled.
Yeah, that happens.
And that's just the way it is.
Thanks for being here. This is Street Fight Radio, #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. You can call in, although we have a pretty full queue. Next Sunday, we'll be back doing the same thing, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time. The number to dial is 614-655-3887. We've got a little bit to go. If you want more of what we do, find us on SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify. You can subscribe to the podcast. That's where you can hear us for free 2 times a week. And come see us live. We're always doing shows, and we want people to come out, and it's always a great time. To be honest, like, the variety show was a really good show, but just the atmosphere was incredible. There was just, someone told me it was the best party that Columbus has had in years. And it was just wall to wall, elbow to elbow, the coolest, most radical people, lots of organizers, and lots of hip motherfucking people on twisted up on drugs and alcohol. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great.
And I got to crowd surf. I fucking crowd surfed at the end of it. Can you believe that?
Yeah, and on January 24th, see the Street Fight Variety Show again at Ruby Tuesday with District Sentinel Radio and Jake Flores. So, that's going to be a big happening. I think you should be there if you're close. All right, man, let's get these calls.
All right, thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Hi, this is Daniel from Austin, Texas.
What's up, Daniel? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I wanted to first call in to make a defense of the celebration roast. It's underrated because there is one really great way to cook it. It's olive oil and red wine vinegar. That's like the best way.
Oh,
I haven't seen that a lot.
That's a great tip. I mean, the thing about it is tofurkey is like dog shit, and people laugh at it every time you drag it out. And but tofurkey was there for the longest time, for decades. Celebration roast, I think, is like the at least that's like the standard at this point. I think that's the smart choice.
Yeah,
For sure.
I haven't had a celebration roast. Oh, I have had one. I'll have to try it again because it wasn't my favorite possible thing that I could ever eat, but like, I'm not gonna like shit on it because I'm sure it's something like, here's what I think happens with some of those fake meats. It's like, once you haven't been eating meat for a while, those probably taste a lot better than when you're like totally geared toward just eating meat, like I think it's a different, I think you have to be able to readjust your you have to be able to like readjust your expectations for what something is, and I have not been good at that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I definitely was caught off guard when I first had that Impossible Burger at Burger King. It actually gave me the shits. Like,
me too.
Every time I've had it so far. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
I don't know what they're putting in it. It's definitely a whole different feel from like traditional vegan meat.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had it very much in the past few years or in the past few weeks because like every time I do, I eat it and my stomach just feels like, I don't know, it hurts. It actually hurts my tummy to eat the Impossible Whopper.
Really?
It does.
For sure.
It feels like I could eat the meat and feel better than I do, but the meat is terrifying at Burger King. Burger King's a terrifying restaurant, really.
Yeah, it's not a fun place to be at, especially if you got to do like a favor well, I don't know what y'all have up there, but like any kind of like food delivery thing at like around midnight when a lot of crazy drunk people are all about, it's a whole different place.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We have a place called TJ's here, and we never go to it for some reason, which is weird because like you would think me and Brett, especially now that we're performing in town more, would want to hit the TJ's after because it's a local joint and it's like there's 4 of them and it's just kind of like a Denny's sort of thing, but it's ours.
Oh, hell yeah, Denny's.
Yeah, it's ours and it's better than Denny's. And, but their big dinner their big breakfast thing that everybody really likes is called the Barnyard Buster. It's where they take like biscuits, bacon, and eggs, and then they just cover them completely in sausage gravy. So Brett can't eat that. So I guess there's no real reason for us to go because like all you would ever want to eat there is the Barnyard Buster.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to go to a restaurant when it's like a one-stop kind of destination for a particular dish.
Yeah.
At least for vegans, I don't know. I mean, if you eat meat, there's a lot of options. But
right, that's
I was calling about.
When we were on tour with Tony from Minion Death Cult, he's like a vegan. Brett will eat cheese. Well, I guess not anymore. He's decided, but he would eat cheese at that point. So like, I got to learn a lot of places that, you know, because he like just knows a place. He's like, I'll drive 50 miles for some good food. You know.
Damn, yeah, definitely. I love Minion Death Cult. I've been binging them for a little bit.
Oh, they were great. They were great guys to tour with. And thank you for coming out with us, Minion Death Cult. That was wonderful. So did you have something else?
Yeah, there was one other thing. I'm currently trying to do some research, and I'm trying to get like a good journal of like different potential questions that I would ask because I'm in 2021 I'm gonna go to Izarkia for my fiance and I's honeymoon, but
to where?
A good portion of that is Izarkia in Athens. Sorry,
Athens, what?
Greece.
Oh, Athens, Greece.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a city in Athens.
Oh, gotcha.
That's sweet though. I hear.
I think I was on a board game I played once.
Oh damn. Yeah, but I was wondering, do y'all have like any particular, I guess like any particular questions that you'd have for like Greek anarchists or anything like that? Because I'm trying to pull some questions, and I've so far gotten some pretty good ones from some of my comrades down here in Texas. But I kind of wanted to get more of a Midwest perspective and try to fill in the gaps of this giant country.
Are you hanging with them? Are you hanging out with them?
I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping to like possibly. I don't know. Like my goal is to go there, know at least like enough Greek to like kind of talk to people who like would. I guess like most people would be more comfortable talking in their like local language. So even though I'm sure like a lot of people know English there, my goal would be to like either go to any info shops if they have any, or just like kind of talk to whoever's willing to talk to me or my fiance. That's pretty much how I plan on doing it. I've heard about some of the co-ops, just like having general info shops or, people volunteering in the collectively owned like restaurants and whatnot, like just doing dishes and talking to folks who live and work there. And that's kind of my goal. I'm still on the very beginning stages of my research and my planning for all this. So that's why, I mean, y'all have like a lot of experience talking to not only a bunch of folks from the Midwest, but people across the country. So that's why I was kind of trying to gauge some questions from y'all.
I mean, I'm just interested in how they live, right? Like, they are anarchists, and they like in Greece, they seem to do it right. And like, I would just be curious on how they get. I mean, that's what Street Fight's all about, is understanding people's day-to-day life and what it's like to live there and live your principles. And if it's difficult, if it's fun, if it's always hard, Like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in, actually.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's basically my blanket question for a lot of things, but like, especially in this situation, like, my interest lies in like day-to-day life. Like, are there moments of joy? Are there like, is there comfort, or is it like a very uncomfortable way to live? Is there, like, things like that, you know?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I intend to, of course, like, if I can get this kind of thing printed and out there, I of course would try to spread it to like a lot of people in the punk scene and a lot of like other anarchists I know, but just talking to other communists too, who might not even be really aware of what's happening there, because they don't really pay attention to some stuff relating to like anarchist stuff, which is fine. There's plenty of other struggles around the world, but I just kind of wanted to bridge the gap a little bit. So that's ultimately my goal with trying to do research for, and then hopefully developing a zine.
I think
in
great.
the next couple of years.
Call us after
yeah.
you're done. I'd love to hear from them.
Yeah, I would say to me, in my opinion, the most important thing would just be the logistics of how they get things accomplished, because we need to spread more information about how things are done and what kind of effort it takes and who's involved and what you get from it. You know, we work on a lot of
sure.
We work on a lot of projects, and you know, everybody chips in, and then we know, you know, how much it's going to cost to get these things accomplished, and then we can get things done. I would like to just know, you know, that type of stuff is what interests me, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm particularly focused, at least for the questions I'm developing for them, on like how they've been able to successfully stop the right-wing junta from putting misery in the lives of the refugees that have fled to Greece, and similarly, like what tactics have and have not worked there, and how that can be applied to Texas, because we have a very similar refugee crisis coming in from not just Mexico but all over South America, and we, as leftists, you know, who live and work here in Texas, are faced with a very similar challenge, and I'm just hoping to kind of, you know, in a sense, learn from those who have gone in a lot of ways through very extreme crises with regards to the refugee the refugee crisis that existed there, and like how it's pretty similar to what's going on here in my state. So.
Well, that's great.
Absolutely,
Yeah, call us when you get back. I would love to hear what you found.
For sure, yeah. It's going to take a lot more planning and a lot more research as to, you know, what are some of the ways that I don't like. I especially don't want to like support any of the shitty businesses that have been, you know, in a long time boycott with the masses or anything like that. So I'm trying to do my research as far as that goes.
Yeah, do your best.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. That was great.
Brett, I found a cloak on here. Maybe I'll buy a cloak.
You want to buy a cloak?
Yeah, I think I want to buy a cloak.
You want to have like just shrouds on you?
I do. Gwen was telling me the other day, she was like, Dad, I noticed something about you. And I said, what'd you notice about me? She was like, you like heavy clothes. You like your clothes to be really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, that's how dudes dress. Dudes like heavy clothes.
Sure.
I mean, dudes like me, right? Like
Sure.
real dudes rock, macho dudes like
Sure.
me.
You want a lot of ounces. You want over a pound.
Well, yeah.
25 ounce
Yeah,
fabric.
because then also when I do my weight and it says that I'm really heavy, it's like, oh, yeah, but
It's
I'm wearing all
mostly
these heavy clothes, too.
Mostly
you
clothes.
know?
It's mostly
That's a lot
boots
of
and
clothes
jeans
there.
and heavy sweatshirts.
I just am really into, like, I got these cargo pants for Christmas, thanks to Brett Payne. He helped my wife pick the right cargo pants. and they're just magnificent.
Really?
They have changed everything about me.
Right. You feel confident
I'm
as
like a
hell?
whole new guy now.
People treat you differently, you think?
Well, I think people see me and they're like, that's a guy in some stylish cargo pants.
Sure.
You know, he
Yeah.
can carry a lot of stuff with him.
Right.
And
Prepare.
you know, here's the big cool thing about them, and maybe you're not gonna think this is cool. They're baggy.
Yeah.
Which is like one of those things. It's like, look, I've tightened the pants up over the years.
Yeah, people,
You know?
slim fit
We've
became
all
the thing.
tightened them up. I'm wearing a pair of tight joggers now. You know?
Yeah.
But boy, do I miss baggy clothes.
Yeah, let's go back to
miss it.
sagging, bagging,
I'm not
extra,
sa-
just loose fabric
Loose.
everywhere.
Yeah, let's get
Make
fucking
me
loose,
bigger. I want to be
baby.
big.
That's how I
wanna be
feel.
just everywhere.
I'm gonna take up all the space.
Yeah, I want to be like, I want to sit down on this fucking couch and it's like someone laid some drapes on it.
Yes. I want my pants to weigh 6 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe more. I don't know if 6 pounds is a lot for pants.
For
but
sure.
I just
Yeah,
love heavy
I know what
stuff,
you mean.
you
Yeah, I
know?
mean it's back, but I don't know if they're ready to go that heavy.
Well, these fucking pants that I got are
Just gigantic.
they're just incredible.
Just too big. Just
You think
just-
they're too big?
They're absurd. No. No.
You think my pants are absurd?
Absurdly huge.
Because I thought they looked excellent. Like
No.
they make my legs look small, but
Right.
I'm fine with that. You know?
All right, let's
What am
see.
I trying to prove with long legs?
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Hey, is this me?
Yup.
me?
Yep,
Yeah,
we can hear
only
you.
You can tell us if it's you.
Hey guys, this is Bryant in Denver. How's it going?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm just cooking some dinner here. I had a story about Christmas and a couple shout-outs if we got time for that.
Go for it. Let's hear it.
All right. So, I guess when I was growing up, my parents tried to be honest with me and my brothers about like telling us when the Santa Claus isn't real and all that stuff.
Yeah. When did they tell you? How old?
And I don't remember exactly how old I was, but this story is about my younger brother.
Okay.
So we also grew up Christian, and so they tried to, bring all the Christian stuff into Christmas. Keep the Christ in Christmas and all that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Reason for the season.
And yeah, exactly. So one of the things they told my little brother was, there's these stories about Santa Claus, and they're based on this real guy named Saint Nicholas who lived about 1,000 years ago in Turkey, and he was real generous and he gave people gifts, and that's what the story is about.
That's the Veggie Tales I was talking
my
about on the previous show. That's
Yeah.
the Veggie Tales one. That's my shit. I like that one.
I went back to my parents' house for Christmas, and I was looking through all the VeggieTales VHS tapes, and I didn't find that one. Otherwise, I would have sent it to you guys.
Yeah, Christian Santa ain't so bad. Like if you can meld them, the way they meld it together is like right on the money.
For real. Yeah. So when they told my brother this story, he's like, "Oh, he lived like 1,000 years ago. Does that mean that he's dead?" I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago. He's not around anymore. And so he went to school and told the same story in his own little kid way.
Yeah.
And said, "Oh yeah, Santa's dead," and made a bunch of kids cry in his
Nice.
first grade class or whatever.
Jason did the same thing to me, actually. He's over there
Really?
banning people in the chat room that are racist. But Jason, when I was a kid, it's casual conversation.
Jason.
Yeah, Jason's older than me. And we're kids. We're in a casual conversation, Brett. This was not like a real conversation where this should come up. And we're kind of talking, and I'm like, I'm kind of excited Santa's going to come and stuff like that. And Jason's like, Santa's dead. And I said, he's like, no, he's not. He's Santa Claus. And Jason was like, I mean, he'd have to be pretty old if he was alive. And if he was that old, he couldn't deliver the presents.
Yeah.
He's dead. And I was like, what about the Santas at the mall? And I think he even said they're dead too, which was very weird.
Yeah.
But it was just so weirded me
Zombie
out.
Santa.
Yeah, well, I held on to Santa for probably longer than I should have. And then the second I finally believed that there was no Santa, I told my little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I saw a lot of people
cool.
fretting about it, and you know, I mean, I don't expect anybody to tell my kid the lie. Like, you can say whatever you want. Like, I'm trying to build my daughter up to not to deflect all that Santa is dead bullshit that you're spitting.
Smart, yeah. Well, and we talked about this before Christmas. It's like people worry so much about their kid finding out Santa's
It's
not
weird.
real, and it's
not
like
that, yeah.
and also it like only strengthens their resolve when you
Yeah.
tell them Santa's fake. Like Gwen, like I actually had to sit her down and tell her, you know, hey dude, like Santa's not real. And then she was like, yeah, he is. And I was like, nah, I'm for real. Like I buy the presents and then wrap them and write Santa on it. You can tell it says Santa in my handwriting.
Yeah.
I'm not lying to you.
Right.
I'm Santa.
Right.
And she was like, oh, I don't believe you. I actually don't believe you. And then like part of in my mind, I was like, maybe she's just like thinking if she holds on to Santa, it'll mean she keeps getting a lot of presents because I still have to play the game.
Right.
And it's like, I just told her, man, I was like, hey, you're going to get the same amount of presents no matter what. But none of them came from Santa. They all came from my bank account.
Yeah.
So that's it. I didn't want her to go to school. I didn't want Gwen to go to school in 5th grade and be like, Santa's coming, and everybody be like, Santa, and start making fun of her, you know?
Sure. I don't care.
Yeah, you are more of a let her go through the shit kind of guy than I am.
Yes.
For me, it's like I'm trying to be like, hey kid, you know, being cool is very important, and you got to make sure you're cool, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's over. Christmas is over. It is a shitty time for a lot of people, for most of us, but you know, we made it, right? This is the best
think
part.
so?
Is we're like, we did it. It's done so.
Yeah, I had a good one this year.
Good.
I had a good one. I got a lot of good presents.
I did too. I got a mushroom kit.
Yeah, and now all they got to do is send the spores.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
What kind of mushrooms, huh?
Psilocybin.
And
Cubanesis.
my Takis too. And
Yeah.
Well, that's the funny thing. So this is for Christmas. I got Brett a mushroom grow kit and some spores for psilocybin, and part of me almost was like, let's buy him some Morels too. Just you know, let's get the boy. He can also have
that's
some.
a good cover.
That would be great. Can you get spores from where else?
Dude, you can get spores
Really?
for any kind. They're
I
more
love
expensive
Morels
than
are
the
the-
psilocybin ones. Though.
They're good though.
Yeah, the psilocybin
Fucking
ones
fried
are
with ketchup, dude.
Yeah, the psilocybins are only $8 for a syringe, but some of those gourmet ones are
Lion's Mane?
$25. Yeah. Like $25, man.
Yeah, I'll take the fucking goofy ones instead.
Yeah. No, I went looking through them because I was like, Brett would probably love to grow his own shiitakes,
Yeah, I could get into that for sure.
which I tried to get into a whole bunch at one point. I tried to get into shiitake mushrooms because I was like, well, I'm going to try and go vegetarian. People say that the shiitake mushroom's basically a steak. So
Yeah.
I will get that. Then I grilled a shiitake mushroom and tried to eat it, and I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
This is not a steak. So, and you said you had some shout outs?
Oh yeah. So just generally to Denver DSA, they do good work. One of our DSA comrades is running for Congress. Her name is Charlie Madison Winters. She's got plenty of good radical politics. So support her, follow her on Twitter if you all want to. And then I was going to ask you guys if you've ever read a book called Walk Away by Cory Doctorow.
I have
Pretty good,
not.
sort of fully automated luxury gay space communism sort of deal.
No,
Okay.
I know he's well
So-
respected in that community, but I read a lot of sci-fi myself, but I have honestly never read one of his books.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's got a new one called Radicalized. That's a collection of short stories. That's a good one too.
Nice.
But I would check out Walk Away first.
Cool.
I'll check it out. Yeah. I'm currently reading Chaos,
All right.
Peace.
which is about the Charles Manson murders.
Fun.
I mean, it is fun. It is actually sort of an alternative history of the 60s.
Yeah.
It's not all Manson. You know what I mean? And it's really weird. Like, a lot of motherfuckers in Hollywood knew who Charles Manson was.
Yeah.
Like, he was hanging out with, like, all the motherfuckers in Hollywood.
Yeah, they're bad people.
Yeah. Well, the part of the book I'm reading is so interesting because they're talking about how it took them a month to find who did the murders, right? And like a lot of them think it took a month to find because so many people knew Charles Manson, they didn't want to embarrass a bunch of celebrities.
Yeah.
So it's so funny. That old Los Angeles like tabloid thing is so fascinating to me because I mean, they were just like scum. And then they were also just working with the people too. Just terrible people.
Yeah. You know what I just thought about with the mushroom thing?
Yeah.
I went to a really obnoxious place that was kind of like the dinner we talked about, where it was very expensive. And it was very annoying because when we get there, they don't have anything that isn't, they have no vegan options. They have one vegetarian option. It's a mushroom toast.
What is a fucking mushroom toast?
Everything else is like beef stomach or hog ass or like chicken face. It's just like everything else is just all the animal shit. Or they have sweets. They have like cinnamon rolls and root beer jelly on biscuits and all this bullshit. But it was really weird because everything was so expensive. It was $19 for this mushroom toast because it had all these fancy ass mushrooms on it. This is the place we met the Trillbillies at. I don't know how we ended up.
You went to breakfast?
Yeah.
With them?
Yeah.
Where did you eat with
Skillet.
them? Oh, I like Skillet.
I hated it.
Oh, yeah? I'm sorry, man.
It was kind of annoying. The thing that annoyed me about it was that, like, it was so expensive.
Yeah.
And so the waitress comes out and she's like, what do you want? And we order three pastries, which are basically just pieces of cake. I mean, they're just covered in syrup. It's all cake. And we order a mushroom toast and we order grits. And then she was like, all right, is that enough to get you started? Or do you want to get that out before you started? Or you're going to do entrees later? And it's like, no, I'm not going to do entrees. Like, I've already spent $50 on this fucking breakfast.
I'm so sorry.
I'm not interested in like buying an alligator fucking ass for, $18. I don't want to like whatever the beef belly sausage shit. Like,
yeah, I had it once and I really liked it, but that's why I said it.
The food was good. It was just like, it was not very welcoming and it was just expensive and annoying.
Brett, I'm actually reading. I found this site for you. I'll send you the link. How to make $60,000 a year growing gourmet mushrooms.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, you could go around and sell mushrooms to...
I've already been to a few places where I'm like, wow, these things are a lot of money.
Yeah, they're
worth a lot of money.
They are. I mean, like, it seems like a cool... I mean, like, when I got it, obviously the psilocybin was the main
number
reason.
one.
But
the
like
God's head, you want to get that? Isn't there a God's like dick or something mushroom?
I don't know. I was gonna buy you yellow teachers because I heard.
Ooh, I like that name.
That you've never heard that?
No.
That's like people's favorite mushroom is yellow teachers, but I didn't feel comfortable buying you like anything other than the
regular old boom
the
booms
psilocybin, just because I didn't know. Golden teachers. Oh, they got a medium roast Golden Teachers coffee called LSD blend.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is all a comedy podcast that we do. It's like not nothing that happens at my house.
Right. Yeah. No, this stuff isn't real at all.
All right, let's see the next call.
We need to get an office.
Yeah, I know. We talk too much. We're like breaking the rules of the game. Really?
Get up.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Holy moly. We hit it big time. There's people that are playing. We just got like prank called.
We got pranked.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. It's incredible that somebody would spend their time trying to prank this show, but good job. You did it. You did it. You got
on.
Yeah, you made
it
it
on the air.
Congratulations. All
I wonder what this person's like doing. Like, I'm trying to picture this person's like time right now.
just
like
in like a,
sitting in a
manic phase, just like
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to them, right? I'm just gonna ruin their day or something. Like we give a fuck.
I guess I just picturing them in like with cat hair all over them, like sitting at a computer desk with a.
I don't know. I don't. It's
Just got done jacking off.
It's a waste of time. I just think it's a waste of time.
Little cum stain on the sweatpants, and then
The next call is anonymous, but sometimes that's our people.
how many calls are left?
2.
Take the anonymous and hang up if it's the cusses. Hey, it's Street Fight. Who's this?
Oh, am I on call?
Yes, you are.
Am I on call? Take the
Wow.
last one.
Wow.
Hey, am I on call?
Am I on call?
Ah,
Hey, you're on call.
do I have to hang up? Hang up.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Well, I guess we can't take any more calls. The calls are all
Yeah,
gone,
we're
and
gonna-
the last 3 were pranks. That was fun.
Holy moly.
Are they calling back?
No, there's no. It's all empty. Yeah, that is. I mean, I don't care. I mean,
It doesn't piss me off, but it is like, I don't know. I like am just trying to get into the mind of somebody who would.
I was just doing. I wanted to do the show. I didn't want to just. I mean, I guess they succeeded in derailing. What we were trying to do here.
Yeah, I mean, I knew this day would come. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
always found
it wasn't like I never thought that we wouldn't get pranks and shit like that.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
that's
the
like
biggest
something-
concern.
Yeah.
But it's only because we had a good thing going, and then we try to go public with it, and this is what you get, right?
I guess. I mean, I don't think it's that bad. It's like whatever. I'm not gonna let them win.
Sure. No, I mean, it's ultimately I know what we're doing, and then I know what they're doing, which is spending their time trying to do this.
I mean, it seems like such a low level target.
Exactly.
In a way.
Like we're spending our time working on a large scale project that is advancing a lot of stuff and creating a large community. They're trying to disrupt a podcast.
I know.
It's a pathetic endeavor.
I mean, it's just like, what would my target? I'm thinking about if I'm a young racist white man sitting around my house and I'm like, oh, I really got to take something down. I really got to go after somebody. I'm probably looking at, I don't know, like, who's on the radio? Ed Schultz? Or something like that, or somebody that's doing something like a lot bigger than what we're doing. But I guess not. I guess we've reached the big time, and it makes people mad.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't do anything really. That kind of stuff is, at the end of the day, we know it's out there. That's why we do the show. I mean, this is just proof positive of the shit that we need to fight against. This is why you street fight, because people like this need to have their nuts kicked in.
Yeah.
Right? But they're never going to do anything besides just be online, and they're good at being online. And something that I know that I'm doing is being in real life. Like, I'm traveling across the country and connecting people that are doing things that are way more relevant than some sort of online dickhead could ever do.
Right. I hate to be the guy that's like, this is all like anonymous, but it's like, I don't know, man. What kind of joy do you get out of like anonymous owns in a way? I thought part of revenge or part of vengeance or whatever this is, or whatever it is that is letting people know that you did it. I mean, that's what makes me feel good, is that when something comes out of my mouth, they know that it came out of my mouth and I'm standing up for my own shit.
Right.
I'm not some guy sitting at a computer playing like just using words that I would be scared to use
And that's-
if I left my house.
Right, and that's when we went down to Pikeville, like the people with the Nazi tattoos, the racist ass motherfuckers, the cops were protecting them. There was about 8 of them, and there was 200 of us ready to beat the shit out of them, but the police were protecting them the entire time. I mean, we know it's a pathetic existence, but
I mean, I'm just saying that, like, I know who I am, and
internet,
other people know who I am, and I am a person that puts my face next to what I say, and, like, the satisfaction that I get out of doing what I do, however edgy it might be, like, when we're not patriotic or any of that stuff, like, however edgy that may be, I'm going to live or die by what I say and how I carry myself in the world. And like, I just can't imagine what kind of satisfaction you get being a person who anonymously calls in, doesn't use their own voice, and is afraid to even engage in the conversation.
Yeah. From what I know about existence, like when you're doing things that help other people and uplift other people, you definitely get something out of it that's completely intangible. And when you're spending your time like doing racism, it's fucking killing you.
Right.
It doesn't fucking pan out ever.
I mean, I would talk to this person if they didn't cowardly launch into a bit as soon as they get the phone answered. I wouldn't hang up. I would argue and fight with this person. I don't have a problem doing that. I just fucking... They come in anonymously with an already prepared bit, and they don't even engage. They can't even fucking engage. You know, it is. I've always wanted people that called in that disagreed with us and got mad at us. Fuck, that's why we do this on the fucking radio. But you know,
that's not a conversation. That's just
they're not trying to have a
spamming.
Conversation. They're not
idiotic.
Not confident enough to have an actual real conversation. They don't have the confidence of their beliefs. They don't have the confidence in themselves. They don't do their own thing. They call into other people's stuff, and they go into other people's chat rooms, and
their life is trying to tear people down.
Yeah, sounds great. I mean, I'm trying to tear down people too, but there are people with a lot more stuff. Like trying to tear me and Brett down seems, again, like a pretty like low target to take down. Like, is it because you feel like you can stop us because we're smaller? But here's the fucking thing. Nobody's been able to stop us yet. We've been doing it for fucking 9 years, you know?
Yeah.
So we will keep doing the call-in show.
There is people. Do you want to take more calls or not? I feel like I should give you the option. There's other people I've jumped in the chat. They do have their numbers. They do have their numbers listed, but you just want to just squash it.
Take one.
Just
take the first one.
All right, let's see if you can restore our faith in the call-in tonight. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
How's it going? This is Andrew Hillary from Pittsburgh.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
It's going good. I've been listening for a while. I never called in, but I figured after that debacle was the last of the queue. I was like, you know what? I'll give it a call.
Well, you know what?
What?
It got sour, and I read like the temperature of the chat and everything, but people were like really wanted to rally it. So then for some reason I felt like the people that called in were going to like, you know, really bring this thing around.
Well, it's sweet of you to call in. I'm really happy. So what's
I
going
didn't want
on?
the show to end on a note like that, you know?
Oh, we were going to keep it going. We just weren't going to take calls. I think we were going to still go for another half hour.
No, that would have been abysmal, though.
But we would have talked other stuff.
No, I wanted out.
But
of
it would
that.
have been wrong. Yeah, it would have sucked. It wouldn't have been fun. So what's going on tonight?
Not much. I'm laid off for the winter. I do landscaping, so I've just been, you know, collecting the unemployment, fucking around, living my best life.
That is good. How long do you get the unemployment for?
It usually goes just till the weather clears up. I'm over in Pittsburgh, so like, you know, once it's springtime, we go back to work. But
you don't have to shovel snow?
No. my company doesn't do that for some reason.
That's nice. Because the person that owns it doesn't want to shovel snow.
Probably. But I got a phone call yesterday from my branch manager that apparently they're not going to bring me back next year. So I'm, I guess, fired also.
What'd you do? I don't know why I said what'd you do. That makes it sound like you did something wrong. But were you like a pain in the ass?
That's a little bit of column A and column B. So my job, it starts like super early in the morning, and I'm not much of a morning person. I do comedy like 5 nights a week, so waking up at 5 in the morning is like, it's not fun.
No,
I'm not good at it.
I could never have done. I could have never have done the stand-up thing and a job. That's admirable.
Yeah. So I was like between like 5 and 15 minutes late pretty much every day. But I've worked there for 3 years, and I've been doing that since I got the job, and like nobody's ever even given me so much as a warning about it. So I was like, I guess this is fine. It's not like they pay me when I'm not there, so they're not losing any money by me not being there.
I mean, can I ask, like, was it sort of like, so at most jobs I've never been a landscaper because it seems like that's one of those jobs that was like the hardest kind of
usually
job.
During training you throw up on your first day, and then whether you come back on the second day decides whether you can do landscaping or not.
Yeah, it's a troops job. They're like troops. It's troops level. But
you know what it is? I worked in call centers for like 10 years, and then I got fired during the election because we were doing fundraising for Hillary, and I got into a fight with some guy that was making fun of me for being a millennial on the phone. So I'll tell you guys that story another time because it was pretty glorious. But yeah, so after I got out of that call center, my buddy worked for this landscaping company and had me come in and like, dude, being outside after being behind in a cubicle for 10 years, it's just like, I loved it so much. I lost a ton of weight. Like, I've just felt so much better. Like, you work a call center job, you go home and you're so miserable, your head's spinning, but you're, like, wide awake. This is, like, the complete opposite. Like,
dead tired.
I really like it.
Right. The cable job, I remember, because I did the same thing you did. Right. Like I was working in a call center and I quit to do the cable job. And I always I loved the fact that I was outside. Like I loved working outside. Some people are just built to work outside and some people aren't. And I'm like a person that's just, I got to work outside.
Yeah.
I love,
it's definitely nice.
My ideal life, which I don't get to do because I'm subjected to several people's schedule, but like waking up at like 5 in the morning and doing a whole routine and stuff, by the end of the day when you're like super fucking tired just from exhaustion, like that's my goal, I think, is just to be up so long that you can just naturally go to bed or to work yourself to the point where you're just like ready to sleep without like CBD capsules or anything.
Right. Oh, I forgot the second part. So the fact that I was late almost every day is the reason that they gave me. But the reason that I'm pretty sure is the actual reason is because I made like $4 more an hour than most of the other people there.
Yeah, that's the shittiest way to get fired. Because like for me, I was like, I know that I was a pain in the ass at work. And like if I ever got fired, it was always like, yeah, I probably deserve that. I don't think anybody deserves to like lose their livelihood and stuff. That's why I want like a safety net and all of that stuff. But like for me, it was like I would lose a job or get fired. And then when I left, I'm like, they got a point there. They make a lot of good points about why I shouldn't have this job anymore. That's why I asked you how it happened, because it was just, because it was like, well, you probably know there were some reasons that things didn't work out. But if you're making $4 an hour more than everybody else, that person went home on the last day and they knew that they had to get rid of you and that they could just hire other people for sure.
Yeah. There's no shortage of people to go and push stuff around. But,
it's so hard,
that's what
though.
I'm thinking is that, like, they were looking at like the spreadsheet, and they're like, well, this guy's making more money. What can we get rid of him for? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for calling. Thanks for bringing the mood up on the show. I really appreciate it.
And do you say Jake Flores is going to be on the next variety show?
Yes,
January
24th. Jake Flores, District Sentinel Radio, and Street Fight.
And maybe,
Fuck yeah.
And I'm gonna.
I might try and I might mega bust out for that. I like Jake Flores a lot.
Yeah, I have a surprise rapper for y'all too.
Yeah,
I'll
and
bring
we have a
somebody in.
surprise rapper.
Yes.
So it's going to be a big one. It's going to be fun.
All right, cool. I'll call in another time and tell you guys some more getting fired stories. I got
All right,
as many of them as I've had jobs.
Sweet. Have a good night. You want to call it?
We could. I mean, it's early, but there's 2 calls to go.
We started early.
I think we beat back. I think we beat them.
Take it.
I don't think they have the stamina. Right?
Go for it.
They're not in it anymore. They lost the fight.
We'll see.
We got 2 more.
Go for it.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Please don't be a racist tonight.
Hello.
Is it skeleton? I would prefer skeleton over racist.
Yeah, in the hierarchy of things, skeletons are better than racists.
Yeah.
Well, that one's not there. You might have us on mute, or you're queuing up the racist song you're going to play.
Last one. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, it's Leon from the Facebook group.
What's up, Leon? How are you tonight?
Going on, man?
Thanks for calling. Hey, you are the Street Fighters came through in a pinch.
Yeah, we needed positivity. We needed good vibes. We needed to get like reoriented. You know?
Yeah, we were feeling real good.
I don't know what happened. Like, y'all went on break. I went upstairs to like do some stuff. Then I come down and like there's a ton of like calls saying all kinds of horrible stuff.
Yeah, neither do we. I think somebody found us tonight, and
it's limited.
It was Sunday.
We've done 3.
Oh, it's totally a bunch of 4chaners or some shit.
Yeah, we've done 3 hours of content for week after week after week. You can't beat us. You did 60 seconds worth of disruption of 300, 400 hours.
You guys, I was actually surprised that they haven't like tagged you yet, like with just like an entire queue full of just dick.
No, I'm flattered, to be honest. Like, I feel like we've made it. I've always like it's weird because Brian sometimes will be like I'll be like, I just plan ahead. I think about problems that we could have in the future. And Brian was like, that sounds like general anxiety.
It is.
It's like, but I'm like, but I know some asshole could come in and do this. Like, I can see this from my perspective. I've already backfilled it, and I understand how you could disrupt what we're doing. We've been so open for so long. And like it's just like it's a testament to the limited amount of like shitheads that are willing to disrupt what we're doing. You know, it's just like it's nothing. Like it's a blip on the radar. They're so fucking weak.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just
you know what it is too. I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I think they're like scared. I think they're just straight up scared.
Well, I mean, and this is honestly what, to be honest, like. The show that we do on the internet is entertainment for people that listen on the internet and like the internet and love the internet. But like the live show that we did and the amount of people that we connect with that are doing real life organizing, that's the kind of stuff that like bulldozes the internet trolling. Like they might be able to put some racist shit on our show, but like the amount of people that are disrupting the world is not going to change based upon that. You know?
Right. Yeah, I think.
I mean,
you got it. Y'all know what you're doing.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, this was something I expected on the first call-in show, so it's not super surprising. I think it was like, I can't believe it didn't happen before now. Like
no, it's really. I mean, like, yeah, it's kind of one of those things where when you imagine like a home invader coming into your house and like how you're gonna beat them off and like save your family and stuff. Like you finally have this racist, stupid bullshit in front of you, and you're like, I've been preparing for this moment for so long. Like, am I gonna do the fight or flight thing? Like, what's the appropriate thing to do here? You know,
There's like nothing you can do. I mean, that was what they made it so we didn't have any way to respond.
I did my breathing exercises. I dropped the call. I didn't fret at all. I had no panic or anything. I was ready to just do my job as the controller of the call, as my switchboard operator position.
You operated that shit like a boss.
Thank you.
I mean, like I said in the past, I was always like, I'll fight with somebody over the phone. I don't mind somebody calling and fight with me. I don't fucking care. But maybe that's like what's disappointing is because you think the negative calls and you know, you always expect negative calls. You think the negative calls are going to be people with maybe that are trying to get at you, you know, and talk to you and get you to say something.
Right, but then you realize that it's just like a bunch of 14-year-old like kids that are just like, hey, I found this. Like, let's troll these fucking libs because you know whatever, and you know they don't care.
For sure.
I had a story tonight actually.
Yeah, hit us with it.
So like earlier you had talked about like I've listened for a couple of years and I know like you worked in an Abercrombie warehouse, Brett.
Yes.
And I actually think it's very similar to my warehouse. Like I work for Kohl's. I don't care about name dropping because I don't give a shit. So you talked earlier about like how like a bunch of the people there are like a bunch of like right wingers and shit. Well, at ours, like we have some of those guys, like some of the vets and stuff. But like I love the fact that we have a ton of like just these bent over like old Spanish ladies who are like the greatest people in the world. And so I have a story about one of them. So like there's this wonderful woman who was working with me in my area there. And I was wearing a hat that kind of looks like a Che Guevara hat if I wear it backwards. And so at the end of the night, she looks at me and she's like, you know, you look like Che Guevara. Do you know who that is? I said, yeah, absolutely. You know, why not? And I was like, I got a patch of him on my backpack. Check this out. And so like at the end of the night, you know, go to my locker and I show her the patch and she's got this big excited face. Oh, look, he knows this guy. It's just so and so. And I feel that like deep down, like at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who do know that they're kind of getting fucked over. They just obviously don't like know how to talk about it or like I guess organize or whatever. And you know, so it's always a little fun thing to like every now and then, you know that you have some kind of solidarity with people, even if it's somebody that's like way out of your age grade or like age group and shit. But like, cause like I don't make it hidden that like I'm an anarchist at work. Like I have patches and shit, and like I wear my like ACAB shirt and shit to work, and like nobody seems to give a fuck. But like every now and then, like I'll have somebody that I've been like hanging out with or like talking to that I'll come up and just be like, you know, I kind of really hate this like fucking work shit. We should really do something about this.
I think
like, yeah, well you.
I think a part of that is like, so it is the phrase, I'll say the phrase, like a lot of people who work for a living, even me when I was really, really working hard at my jobs, I had that phrase in my mind. This is pre-politics and stuff. And it was just like, life's a bitch and then you die. You know, and it's like it's a really hacky thing to say.
No, Nas said it. It's not hacky.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like a thing to say that people like. I understand it's like a very cliche thing to say, but it's like I think
it's one of those things that people say when they feel shitty about themselves and their life situation. They're like, well, this is life. What am I gonna do?
Right, and I think that like that is a step. Oh, that's where. That's like why radicalization doesn't necessarily happen with a lot of working people, because they think that the default is that life should be hard in a way.
Oh yeah.
And that like there's no possible way in the world to make it easier because politicians have told them that there's no possible way to make it easier, and people have told them all their lives that making it easier would mean that they were a failure if we made it easy.
Oh yeah, it's that old classic like Puritan work ethic, and we've just taken that shit and just ramped it up, you know.
Yeah, Yeah, it's really sad because you really want to like. I mean, like I know people are like, oh, we gotta get working class people on our side, but it's like we need to. I by giving them theory or whatever, I was like, and I sort of feel like we need to. We should have proof of concept for them. Is what I think.
I think you're right on that, because like I think the thing that people like get like turned off by is the theory. Like I get it. Like you go and read your Kropotkin's and shit. It is really heady, especially because it's written in like the 19th century. But like I think if you can just like I think if you can just be like, hey, why do they have to make all the decisions? Why can't we just like say, hey, you know what, we know how to do this better than you dudes in the suits. So why don't we run this shit? But like, there's always that thing. I think people still have that that thing that they just don't want to give up, where it's like, oh, but like what boss is going to tell me to go where and do what? And it's like, but you've been at the company for 15 years. You know exactly what the fuck you're doing. So why do you need some guy to tell you, like, to do your job that you've been doing for so long?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, people feel like they need a manager. I was a person who felt like I needed a manager when I was working.
Right.
Like, I don't know why. I knew how to do the job. I knew what I was doing, but I also kind of was like, well, you can't have a business without a manager. Never even considered a co-op. Never would have even understood the idea of a co-op when I was working at Insight or at any of those old jobs. And it took so much to get me to this point that, like, I just think it's like a Herculean task. I mean, it's like something, it is, again, proof of concept. That's one of the reasons, like, why I think about Bernie Sanders and I'm like, getting him elected and getting universal health care is proof of concept to me.
Oh, no doubt.
And maybe
absolutely.
maybe it's selling out or something like that, but it's like, I want to prove to people, you want to prove to people that left-wing concepts can work and can make their lives better. And it's hard to do that if you're not actually doing it or able to do it,
I think a lot of it has to do with, again, is a lot of our programming. And we've talked, I've heard you guys talk about it. I've heard many other leftist people talk about, like, deprogramming people and stuff. And that's very, very difficult to do, against... how long have we been doing TV? Since like the fucking 50s, so 70, 80, almost 80 years of just like nonstop bullshit of just the constant propaganda and stuff. And I mean, yeah, it's been going on since before that, but like it's really hard to break people of that kind of thinking. Although, like, I feel like the best argument, especially if you take like Bernie Sanders for example, and you talk about like Medicare for all, right? And I feel like the best argument for that is to be like, well, like what you guys said earlier about like you can just choose your job now because now you don't have to worry about fucking health insurance. You want to go be you want to sell skateboards, do it. It's like it's a cool thing now. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Right. It just has to happen. Like it's the thing where like they're not going to believe that until they see it. Like I totally understand like hesitance to sign on to a lot of this stuff by normal people or maybe people who don't think about politics at all. I get the hesitance because it's depressing, can be. We get beat a lot, which sucks.
Yep.
But there's also like an entire system against us to prevent us from succeeding. And like, it's really, I don't know how to do it. I am like the worst person to ask this, but it's like, we're not going to turn McDonald's into a co-op. But if
and I don't think we should. Which sounds weird, but yeah.
But if we did show a group of people how a co-op works and then have them run their own co-op, that is going to turn them permanently on to like our side, right? Like, and it really is about concrete making people's life better. It's like with universal healthcare would be that step. It's like, well, this happened and the sky didn't fall and now I have healthcare and I don't have to think about it anymore. And then,
but I mean, like in history, that's. You think about it in the terms of like they said the same shit about like Social Security and the same shit about the fucking 5-day work week and the same shit about weekends and the same, an 8-hour work day. Like it was like there's that meme that's always shared of like all the people throughout the ages that are all the capitalists that are talking about like how all these legislative reforms is going to ruin business, and guess what? It hasn't ruined business, and like. And then they've done like all kinds of like the economic studies and shit that talk about like the increase in productivity when you have like more frequent breaks or better pay and of course insurance and all that shit. So I think it's just a matter of like you're right. Like proving it to people, but I think again like it's really hard to snap people out of that like. Oh, I'm going to turn on the mainstream news, and I don't. Yeah, and I don't.
Well,
I
realize
I'm rambling.
I guess to me, it's like you have to sneak it in. I don't think you're going to get a majority of Americans to identify as anarchist or communist. I just truly don't see that.
But it is way more. It's way more favorable, though. I mean, like,
no doubt.
I think
Especially, I
talking about earlier,
yeah,
the earlier call that we had about like, being in a more conservative environment, like, you can establish yourself as the most radical person in the room, and as long as you can temper like your levels, like you can kind of push people. You can be on the edge. You don't have to go extreme every single time, but like you can express things in that way,
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no doubt. Like,
I mean, my thought was that we're not gonna turn. They will not identify as it, but we could make the concrete changes to make a system exist that does work better for everybody, and they.
Oh yeah.
Will maybe even fight it. There will be people that will fight it sometimes.
You just put it out there. It's like, I'm not establishment anything, but I'm just looking out for the most people. Like I'm worried about my uncles. I'm worried about my nieces, my nephews. I'm worried about my fucking, people that I call my kin that I'm not related to by blood. Like I'm worried about everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm motivated by. I think saying that out loud is like just you can't come back against that, Like we're just going to have to be open-hearted people in a way that like is undeniable. That like we're just it's like sure, I do respect your point of view. I understand that you've studied a lot of memes when it comes to like your point of view. I really respect that, and I can see why you would think that way. And you're allowed to have that. But what I'm going to do is say out loud that I want everybody to be taken care of, and I want you to see if you think you're better than me.
Yeah.
I want you to think if you think you're better. I want you to think you're better than me when I start giving college to everybody, or when I start saying that like everybody should have everybody should have the security. Like that there shouldn't be this stuff. It's like they really can't live up to the scrutiny.
And I feel like if you can break that down to somebody like a conservative or even like a MAGA chud or something like that, but like do it in a way like, because like first off, I mean it's very difficult, especially if they're gonna like be throwing all kinds of like bullshit at you, like actual like wrong information and shit, and then now you have to spend like almost the entire time trying to like decode that information.
Yeah.
And then by that point, everyone's fucking eyes are glassed over, and no one wants to hear the argument anyway. But I also feel like if you can couch your argument in like I know it might sound weird, but like you can't like let it get heated, and you can't let it like you can't find yourself like swearing up a storm and being a general dick. You just kind of like you really have to be mindful and just take it, like you said, Brett, just like take a breather and just be like, okay, I'm gonna counter that by saying X, Y, Z, and then if you come
I'm having
across
fun.
as like the more. Yeah, if you come across as A, having more fun, and B, being the person that can, like, articulate your ideas without sounding like a raving madman, I feel like most people who would be in that room that are not in the conversation would look on you more favorably.
Right, and I've said, I what I said earlier, the like that. It's better.
Oh, that's perfect. I'm gonna use that shit, dude.
I use that in a way also to be like, so you're in a conversation or like communism has killed what's the amount of people? 12 million people or some crazy shit.
Yeah, whatever it is.
And if somebody brings that up and they say that, I go, And then either they're going to understand that I don't believe that and move on to the next point, or they're going to ask why I don't believe that. And then I can say, well, here's why I don't believe that. And I can say, like, generally what I come back with is, like, every person that starves to death dies from capitalism, and every person that is locked up in a cage is locked up in a cage for capitalism. Yeah. And, like, I tend to, like, explain it. I mean, it's very hard to get people to understand that America is not wonderful, because to most of us, I say most of it, to most of us, it is fairly comfortable, like I am a very comfortable person. And like I'm the same way. Yep. I have always been a very comfortable person. Like always, my whole life, I've never had to sleep outside. I've never had to skip a meal. I've never had any of that stuff. So, like, the only difference between me and that person is that, like, I understand that other people have different conditions in their lives, and other people have not been as lucky as I have. And I want to improve. My way of fixing it is to improve life for them. And if your way can be whatever your way is, but I'm probably going to come off better than you in the end,
Well, it's kind of like that concept of, like, so what is it?
It's easy. It's the same thing with, like, the trolling tonight. It's easy to do racism online. It's easy to do it not in front of a group of people. It's easy to do cold-hearted libertarianism, where it's like, well, if you don't have enough money to get your cancer fixed, you probably didn't have enough investments in you, so you weren't worthy of being alive.
There was no reason for the market to keep you alive.
Yeah, like you weren't in any sort of circumstances that you would be important to the rest of us.
But then, like, those same...
But writing that out, you can definitely write that out. Like, if you want to do the cold-hearted shit and, like, really write it out. But to sit in the parlor in front of a group of people and say that in front of everybody is disgusting.
And nobody usually tolerates it at all.
No.
And, like, I feel... Yeah, I lost my point. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
But, yeah, it is just, like, I think sometimes we get in this mode where we want the conversation to go the way that we have played it in our minds over and over again, where we say the magic word and then the person becomes a leftist. But the truth is that it's a series of sloppy conversations.
And you need to be as sleazy as they are. You need to be in the way where it's like, I just think everybody should be happy. And it's like, oh, that's not fair. And it's like, well, that's what I believe.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. And it's like, that's not fucking fair, man. Because I'm trying to come up with rules where some people aren't happy, but because they're not happy, they eventually decide to be happy because they're not getting enough money to be happy. And it's like, no, I'm skirting that whole thing.
Yeah, I was skipping all those steps and just going to happy.
To be honest, it has happened with, like, the Bernie Sanders campaign, where they think it's unfair that the guy is likable, or that, like, he's like says things that are agreeable. It's like, you can't just, like, say things that people believe. Like, that's not what you can do. Like,
that's how you run a campaign.
Unfair. That's dirty. That's like that's dirty tactics.
Yeah, all them establishment heads think that shit's like you it's untouchable. You can't talk that kind of thing, because
that's where we're at.
Highly unheard of. Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, well, it's all that old Cold War propaganda bullshit.
But even people my age, I feel like I'm butting up against some that are like, we need to pick a racehorse that can win a race, and then you like, as somebody that's trying to make, like, a cultural movement happen with this show, you understand how much, like, me and Nick were talking about this, how much, like, it's cynical and it's scary and it's weird to play with this thing where, like, I'm trying to be truthful to people and I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to do that, but it also is, like, monetizing what I'm doing. And I'm not trying to sell people on what I'm doing here, but I'm trying to be as honest as I possibly can. And, like, that is like a hack to everything that unlocks, like, the world, like that cuts through all the bullshit and all the advertising dollars and all the skewing. Like, there are still a group of people that think that it has to be a planned out marketing campaign to get the folks, to get the people on your side.
Trump won because he didn't talk like a debate guy.
Yeah.
Won. He didn't follow any of the rules of debate.
No doubt. Oh my God.
And that's how he won.
He tapped into something that was definitely that I mean, it was definitely something that had been undergirding forever, but like I feel he really tapped into something, obviously that put him over the top. But like at the same time, just to buttress your point, like so you talk about them libertarians that want to say all this shit and about theory and stuff, but then like when a flood or a fire or a tornado like takes out their fucking house, and then a bunch of like mutual aid anarchists come through and are like, I don't give a fuck what your tendency is. Here's some water, here's some food, here's some blankets. Then it's like at the end of the day they're like, oh well, that was actually kind of cool. Like maybe this is a cool. Like I feel like you have to like prove the shit to them, even if it means like for them catastrophic fucking failure.
Right. Well, I think also like it is interesting. I want to back up your point, Brett, where you were saying that like they were saying it's unfair how Bernie runs. I'll be covering this in a couple weeks on the Shocktober that's coming out. But when Hillary Clinton was on Howard Stern, she was saying like, what really hurt me was that I would make an announcement for a really great policy that was not a great policy. It would be like some policy announcement that was like means tested and numbers and shit like that. And then she was like, and then he would come out and he would say free college for everyone. Like, yay, free chocolate milk, yay.
She was like, every American will get a punch card that they can earn towards a business credit and that they can trade in for a franchise of their choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was just like, everybody should get to have access to college and learn how to do business. And it's like, no, you can't say that.
Right. Well, what is she saying in the end? Like when we're talking about everybody should get health care, everybody should get free college, the reason they don't like it that we say that, or that Bernie Sanders says that, or that like socialists and communists and anarchists believe that everybody should have the same sort of treatment. The reason they don't like that is because their thing hinges on the fact that only some people get to have the stuff.
I mean, it would literally mean they would have less seafood towers. Like they would go to like there were less seafood towers and like fondue shit at their party.
Yeah.
Like it would be sliding the money towards the rest of us.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
absurd. It would just mean that the rest of us could go to their fucking golf courses.
Right.
Well, that is true. I mean, that's all. I really think, and I've said this before, the Trump voter oftentimes is like a small business owner, right? Like maybe you're a guy that owns a landscaping business. You got that 3% thing on your truck and a Punisher skull and a Blue Lives Matter flag. Maybe you're this guy, right? And you feel like you get to drive the expensive truck and live in the expensive house in the suburbs and have your groceries delivered and have a soda stream and whatever fucking all your shit is, you feel brew your own craft brew, and
you get to fuck a new gun every night.
Yeah. Whiskey aged in a teeny tiny barrel that they keep where it's like $200 whiskey. But anyway,
Napoleon piston.
Yeah. But you think that if other people got to have that, then you wouldn't get to have all the stuff. But the truth is, you don't fucking have anything.
Yeah.
None of that is things. Like, I don't give a fucking shit if you have a whatever it is that you have. If you have a fucking pickleball court in your backyard.
Someone that pays $50 a month on a hot tub on their deck for 5 years.
Yeah.
They throw $7,000 down the hole for a $200 bathtub on their deck.
Right. Well, we had an old joke a long time ago about like a lot of conservatives think that if communism happens, then they're going to have to let everybody in the neighborhood use their air tools.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe, but what's it hurt?
Yeah. You don't need them right now.
Yeah, you're not fucking using them.
Right?
You've never used them.
You've never used them, actually.
Fucking tool library.
For real.
Yeah.
How many guys do you think get the air tools for Christmas
don't.
and never touch them?
They don't have the guts. They don't have the guts to do it. They're
They don't
like,
have anything to do. They don't have. What are they doing? They've? I'll bet you they've used them to change their tires.
Yeah.
In their garage.
Well,
No, not even. You know what they're doing? They're using them for nail guns to shoot at fucking cans in their backyard.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Like, that's what they're doing.
It's also, I mean, I tell you what.
Which is pretty cool, but yeah, whatever.
When the wife comes through on a Harbor Freight Father's Day special and gets you a fucking generator or something, right? Like, that's a big gift.
It is.
It's a big accomplishment in your life.
And you know what? We're gonna let you have that. Like, we're not gonna make them take that away from you.
So basically, what we're going to say is that under the new utopia, every Father's Day you'll check in and decide whether you need a new generator or air pump.
Or you could be cool and cool and progressive, like, you know, my partner and I, and we're just going, you know, halves on a fucking wood lathe for each other for Christmas. So there's that.
Smart.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, right?
It is really like I don't feel like my success is predicated on other people doing poorly.
Sure.
You know? Like, I want everybody up here. I want like I've said this before, I think the base level lifestyle that everybody should have is mine. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Which is
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that, absolutely.
I don't make a ton of money. I don't work that much. And I'm comfortable. And
I would love everybody to be like this.
This
I feel like
is
they
the
could
life.
cool out. They could cool out if they were like on this vibe.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It should be like, if we're going to have work in our society, it should be like mandatory 25 hours and no more.
Yeah.
Like, done.
Yeah.
Like, be done with it.
Well, that wouldn't
You
be
know,
fair
work,
because
like,
then I'd have to work. I'd be working more than everybody because I probably put in more than 25 hours.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, but, you know, at the same time, you know, you just kind of chill more in the basement or whatever. That's cool.
Right. I mean, you know, I just think like that my lifestyle should be a base level. It shouldn't be like an extraordinary thing. And like, I don't, like, I make $36,000 a year, but you know what? I'm very happy and not being worn down by the system anymore. And
you have food, you got housing, you got the transportation,
earbuds
on
earbuds.
demand.
I have some fucking really sweet cargo pants I'd love for everybody to get to see. But yeah,
I do have to say, I mean, even for me, like trying to be elite level stuff, there's just the amount of money. Like once you get there, it's like we don't need that much stuff. I'd rather borrow a lot of this stuff.
Me too.
You know, I'd rather there's like you don't have to acquire. You don't have to have more than one fucking house. You don't have to have like a summer home. You don't need to have any of this shit. And people beyond, like just keep going and going and going. And when you think about the upper crust and the elites and how they're living like 40 fucking thousand people's lives at one time, like they're using the amount of resources that like all of us could just relax for a few minutes each day. You know,
I guess before we go,
I feel like-
I want to recommend that I did a third show. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you can find it. I did a third show with Jack Allison where he sort of talked about when he wrote for Kimmel, he was making an amount of money that people would love, like a successful amount of money. And he said that like the reason he was willing to leave is because he started to notice that like the people that he was working with were like trying to keep up with each other.
Yeah.
In these purchases. So there were like these steps that you had to take. And if you went to a party, you felt out of place if you hadn't taken these steps and climbed up this ladder.
Like I have these jeans, I have this workout routine, I have this car, I have to
buy a house. I have to buy a car. I have to, I gotta have this, I gotta have that. And he said that like, it seemed so empty because it was like a bunch of stuff that he didn't personally want. So like, and he was doing a job he didn't want to do.
And you achieve them. Yeah, it's like people tell you like this is an accomplishment. And it's like, is it? Like I don't feel satisfied by it.
Ever.
Yeah, I mean I did it just because you needed me to do that for money.
Yeah.
Right? Like I only did that because you said because that's how I get money. That's why I'm here.
Or even like the big purchases when you get so excited and you're like, I can finally buy the thing, you know, that I always dreamed of having, whatever that may be. I haven't gotten it yet. It's a boat. But like,
I want two things I want. pinball machine for my house and a action figure of myself.
Okay, yeah,
I've always wanted an action
I might be
figure
able to
of
help
myself.
you out with one of them. I don't know yet, though.
Those are two good ones. I think like my thing. It's not
Every
really
time I got a
boat.
tax return, I always was like, I'm gonna get a pinball machine or I'm gonna get a custom action figure made of myself. And I've always had like past due bills or like shit that was gonna collect too much interest.
I mean,
never got to do that.
basically my dream. Now we're telling our dreams, right?
It's dream. It's fucking dream book right now.
White
Are
trash.
we on this? Right?
Yeah.
This is my white trash dream. It's like if I was rich, right? And I don't know how rich I would have to be to do this. My actual true for real thing is a 2-bedroom apartment in downtown Columbus and a 2-bedroom apartment in West Hollywood, Los Angeles.
Wow.
That I could go back and forth to and spend that is like, I think that is a modest, that is a modest rich guy goal, right? Like
Sure.
I want to be rich
Two
enough.
homes.
I can see that.
Yeah, just 2-bed, not homes, 2-bedroom apartments.
Right. Two renting situations.
Garden apartments.
Not two houses.
Not 2 houses. Just I want to pay for 2 nice
Beds.
places, and then like I'll just fly back and forth every like
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like I spend a month there, a month here, a month there, a month
All right.
here, and
Yeah, I
like
was gonna say when we did the variety show, you were talking about all the houses you wanted, and I was just like, later I was thinking about, I was like, I want to cut your head off if you want 2 houses.
well, I want to like. Here's the fucking thing, man. I have such roots here. And
Yeah, it's a
I
great
really,
place.
really love this city, and like I love everybody here, and all my favorite people are here, and but I truly also love Los Angeles, and I want to be there.
Right.
Like I love it there. I just think it's the greatest place in the world, and it is exactly who I am as a person. That city
Yeah.
feels like when I'm there. It's warm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You can walk a lot, and they have a lot of good restaurants and a lot of cool stuff.
Vegan food, tight clothes.
Yeah, tight
lots
clothes.
of weed.
People dress a little more outrageously there and interesting than Ohio.
Yeah, they go for it.
Yeah, it's more interesting. Good. They have like a burger and a donut place on almost every corner, which
True.
are coincidentally two of my favorite food.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's true. No, you're right.
Well, thanks for calling. You really brought the mood up on the show, and I really appreciate it.
Great, thank you guys.
Thanks. All right, Brett, we did it.
That's Street Fight Radio. Thanks for listening to what we do. Hopefully you didn't hear any bad words while you listen. We don't do a bad word show, right? We don't try to do bad words on this show.
We do cusses and stuff, but we try not to use the N word, which is the word
Yeah.
that they were using. We're going to have Jake cut some stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, the thing about it is, I think as a white guy, you want to say it's not a big deal, but you have to understand that there's a lot of people that like have come under like extreme circumstances because of that kind of stuff.
I agree. I want it in the show. I
like-
want it out.
I think that like I can brush it off as far as the show's concerned, but it is hard to like navigate when it comes to saying like the seriousness of that kind of stuff, like it sucks that that's what they go to, and it is, but because it is such a prevalent thing, like that's why we do the show, is because we are a part of the type of jokey white guys that think you can do a bunch of racism to make jokes. Like that's an easy way to make funnies in like the way that we came up,
Yeah.
like we're creating a space outside of that, but it's a real thing. Like they are joking, but at the same time, like fucking really having an effect on what goes on,
And fuck them, and they suck. Don't forget, get your tickets this week. You're going to have a link up this week.
Yes.
We will have a link up for the variety show January 24th with the District Sentinel Radio Boys and Jake Flores. On the 25th of January, we will be in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania at Harrisburg Der Manor Corps or some shit like that. We'll get you the information for that up on the site. And who knows what other dates we'll be announcing soon. The continuation of Teen Fight is going to happen. We're recording the next episode on Monday the 6th. So we'll get that out to you by the 7th. And I am recording one episode of Shocktober. It'll air, and then what'll happen after that is American Podcasts, a deep dive into Kid Rock. We have Chris Wade, Matt Chrisman, Tom Sexton, and Kitty Stryker. So it's a fun show, and I hope everybody enjoys it. And then, if you want to hear some like what's happening in the future with the mini series that I'm doing, there will be March Madness. We'll be talking about sports talk. I'm doing something called Holy Boys with Tom Sexton, where we talk about 8 different mega preachers. I am doing a Doors deep dive with Brace Belden. And, of course, Shocktober 2 will be coming next year. So please subscribe to that Patreon level. I'm working really hard on it, and I think you'll really like what we're doing.
Thanks for listening to Street Fight Radio. We'll see you on Wednesday. Peace. Is that New Year's Eve? A New Year's